Chapter 847. Lu Ming's pupils constricted rapidly. He could feel a terrifying pressure coming from the flaming sword. This pressure was even stronger than the combined forces of the dozens of spiritual god realm experts. It posed a fatal threat to him. Lu Ming roared furiously. He exerted all his strength and swung the two huge cauldrons at the flaming sword. Boom! A huge explosion resounded. The huge cauldrons shook, and the void shattered. Endless flames spread out. The terrifying heat caused the space to distort and crack. The raging flames burned through the space. The scene was extremely shocking. Interesting. The dignified voice continued to resound. Then, a middle-aged man in a purple robe stepped out of the spatial crack. He held the flaming sword in his hand and stood in the void. His body was also suffused with purple flames. A huge black hole appeared in the area where he stood. There was nothing in the black hole, only an endless and terrifying void. That was because the terrifying temperature of the middle-aged man's body had burned through the space. Supreme Being. It's a Supreme Being. It's the Wang clan's patriarch. The Wang clan's Supreme Being is here. Waves of incredulous exclamations and roars resounded. Some people's eyes widened as they roared loudly. They were too shocked. Lu Ming had actually lured a Supreme Being out. Exalts were existences that stood at the peak of the domain enlightened spirit god realm, and it was even to the extent that they'd already surpassed the domain enlightened spirit god realm and were existences that had taken half a step into the martial monarch realm. Every single one of these existences were existences that ruled over an area and were invincible. Supreme beings were the strongest in the absence of martial monarchs. There were only a handful of such people in the entire Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Even such people had appeared now. However, the crowd's shock had just begun. Rip, rip, high up in the sky, the space cracked continuously. Many figures stepped out of the cracks. There were 5 of them. Including the Wang clan's patriarch, there were a total of 6 people. The 6 figures stood in 6 different directions. Every one of them had a terrifying and domineering aura. One of them was like a peerless divine weapon just by standing there. His sharp aura directly tore the space apart. One of them was filled with battle intent, like a god of war who had been through hundreds of battles. Another was elegant. The 6 of them each had their own unique characteristics, but the one thing they had in common was that they were strong, too strong. Their auras were vast and mighty. Even from thousands or tens of thousands of miles away, one could still feel the terrifying pressure. Heavens, heavens, those are the family heads of the 6 great ancient families. They are all supreme beings. The supreme beings of the 6 great ancient families have all come out. Someone shouted crazily. However, most of the people remained silent, because they were already numb to it. The 6 Supremes had only appeared when they were facing an enemy Emperor Dao expert. Now they had all appeared because of Lu Ming. Little guy, you're really something. You're the first one to make the 9-dragon cauldron move because of you. Now come with me. His Majesty Empress Wu wants to see you. One of the middle-aged men spoke. Although his voice was calm, it was filled with authority. Someone recognized that this was the patriarch of the Dongfang family. At the scene, the hearts of countless people trembled once again. Even Martial Emperor Di had been alarmed. Martial Emperor Di had sent 6 supreme beings just to see Lu Ming? Many people already felt that it was difficult to breathe. What had happened today was beyond their imagination. Maybe it was because of the 9-dragon cauldron. Many people guessed. They're really here? They're so fast. Lu Ming's pupils shrank as he thought quickly. When the 9 dragons' blood rushed out and resonated with the 9-dragon cauldron, Lu Ming knew that the 9 dragons' blood might be exposed. However, the other party had come faster than he had expected. Others thought that it was because of the 9-dragon cauldron, but Lu Ming knew that Martial Emperor Di was looking for him because he had discovered the 9 dragons' blood. It was because of the 9 dragons' blood. Di wants to see me. Tell him to come here himself. Lu Ming said loudly. Since he had already come this far, it was useless to be afraid. It was better to face it directly. However, his words caused an earthquake. Countless people opened their eyes wide and felt that their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Lu Ming dared to call Martial Emperor Yi by his name. Moreover, he even asked Martial Emperor Yi to see him? Lawless, this was lawless. A mere sea of soul realm martial artist dared to ask a martial emperor to see him. If a martial emperor wanted to see him, it would be a great honor for him. It was something that countless people wished for. They really could not figure out where Lu Ming got his guts from. Lu Ming sneered. He knew that meeting Martial Emperor Yi would not bode well for him. Therefore, there was nothing to be afraid of. Bastard, how dare you? A mere ant dares to boast so shamelessly. You deserve to die. The Wang clan leader shouted coldly. He was very overbearing and filled with murderous intent. This kid is too arrogant. No matter how talented he is, he will not be controlled if he succeeds. It's better to cripple him and hand him over to His Majesty. The Jiang clan leader said coldly. His voice was like a divine weapon being polished. It made people's hearts beat faster. All right, since he is so stubborn, let's take him down. The Luan clan leader said. All right, who will do it? The Jiang clan leader said. I'll do it. The Wang clan leader said with flames burning in his eyes. The other 5 nodded and took a step back. All of you, step back and protect the surroundings. The Wang clan leader glanced at the dozens of spiritual god realm experts. Yes. The dozens of spiritual god realm experts retreated to various corners and prepared to protect the mountains and rivers. Junior, since you are so stubborn, then I'll do it myself. Boom. As the Wang clan leader spoke, a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering aura erupted from his body. Violet flames spread out, burning through even more space in the surrounding area. The flaming sword in his hand expanded rapidly and became 10,000 meters long. Retreat, retreat. The spectators in the distance were extremely terrified and retreated madly again. A prime was about to make a move. If even a wisp of energy leaked out, it would probably be a disaster. It could kill ordinary martial artists countless times. They had no choice but to retreat. Swoosh. The vast sword in the Wang clan leader's hand slashed violently at Lu Ming. Everywhere the sword passed, space turned into nothingness, revealing a terrifying dark void. The divine 9-dragon cauldron shook while the 9 dragons' bloodline roared. Lu Ming grabbed the 2 cauldrons and smashed them explosively at the Wang clan leader. Bang! A terrifying collision resounded once more. The heavens and the earth shook without end, and the cauldrons shook while boundless energy dispersed towards the surroundings. The dozens of spiritual god realm experts below shouted loudly while radiance effused out from their hands and blocked all the terrifying energy. Lu Ming felt boundless blazing energy surge towards him. Even with the protection of the 2 cauldrons, he still felt like he was about to be burned into ashes. He took a large step back and stepped through space. The Wang clan prime has the upper hand. Lu Ming is about to be defeated. Chapter 848. That is for sure. The Wang clan head is a prime. Aside from martial monarchs, primes are unrivaled. Even if Lu Ming can control the 2 divine 9-dragon cauldrons, they are just external objects. How can he fight against a prime? That's right. To think that this brat can control the divine 9-dragon cauldrons. After we capture him, we must get the secret out of him. If the experts of our Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, or even His Majesty the Martial Monarch, can control the divine 9-dragon cauldrons, how strong would they be? Wouldn't they be able to sweep through the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Heavenly Fiend Valley? Indeed. We must get the secret out of him. Many people in the surroundings said coldly, especially the disciples of the Wang clan, the Jiang clan, and the other ancient noble clans. Lu Ming. The figures of the fatty, Ruan Tingting, and the others appeared in the crowd. They had finally rushed over. However, when they saw the scene of Lu Ming fighting against a prime, they were shocked and worried at the same time. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, even with the help of the divine cauldrons, how could he fight against a prime? Old bastard! You must get the old bastard here. The fatty's throat constantly emitted low growls. The divine 9-dragon cauldrons are indeed wondrous. However, today, the divine 9-dragon cauldrons cannot protect you. The Wang clan head held the 10,000-meter-long flaming sword in his hand as he took large strides forward. Then he slashed at Lu Ming again. Lu Ming could only use the 2 cauldrons to block. Boom! There was a shocking explosion. Lu Ming's body shook violently as he retreated continuously. The power of a prime was too strong. An ordinary spiritual god was too weak compared to it. The power of the divine cauldrons is still an external force. As for you, how much of the divine cauldron's might can you bring out? You want to use this to fight against me? You are like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. You are just putting up a desperate struggle. The Wang clan head was like a purple sun floating in the sky, emitting a boundless blazing aura. However, his voice was very cold. As he spoke, he took a step forward and raised his flaming sword again. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared, and a bloody aura spread out. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood that was absorbed by the divine 9 dragon cauldrons. Ding, ding. The 2 cauldrons were shaking. In the next moment, the sky suddenly darkened. Everyone was shocked to see another cauldron descend, suppressing the head of the Wang clan. The 3rd cauldron. Lu Ming had actually summoned 3 cauldrons. Boom! The 3rd cauldron flew towards the head of the Wang clan, but it was sent flying by the head of the Wang clan. The huge cauldron flew towards Lu Ming, trembling slightly as it emitted a brilliant light. It seemed to form some sort of resonance with the previous 2 divine cauldrons. The aura emanating from the divine cauldrons seemed to grow even stronger. It seemed that the more divine cauldrons there were, the more powerful they would be when combined with each other. The divine cauldron shook and left Lu Ming's palm. It began to revolve around Lu Ming's body. The 9 dragon cauldron coiled around the 1st cauldron and floated above Lu Ming's head. The other 2 cauldrons floated beside Lu Ming and rotated. Come on! Lu Ming waved his hand, and a huge cauldron flew out, suppressing the Wang family head. The head of the Wang family looked serious as he slashed out with his flaming sword. Ding! The divine cauldron was repelled, but Lu Ming waved his hand again, and another cauldron flew out, suppressing the head of the Wang family head. Boom! Boom! 2 9 dragon cauldrons flew towards the head of the Wang family head. The head of the Wang family head kept waving his sword, and a shocking sword radiance shot out, fighting against the 3 cauldrons. But he couldn't win at the moment. This scene was too shocking. Lu Ming could actually summon 3 9 dragon cauldrons and fight the head of the Wang family head to a draw. This was too unbelievable, like a fantasy story. Many people also thought that there were 9 dragon cauldrons in total. Since Lu Ming could summon 3 of them, could he summon more? How terrifying would the power be? As if confirming everyone's guess, the heavens and earth shook. In the sky, another huge object descended, and its target was the head of the Wang family. The head of the Wang family head's pupils shrank, and he let out a long roar. A wisp of purple flame floated above his head, and there were 6 golden chakras above the purple flame. The head of the Wang family had a terrifying bloodline of the divine realm. The head of the Wang family merged with his bloodline, and turned into a ball of purple flame. The purple flame then changed again, and turned into a huge purple sword. When a supreme being expert used bloodline fusion, the power was terrifying. The purple sword danced, and a cauldron was sent flying. But the other 2 cauldrons continued to suppress the head of the Wang family head. With the addition of another cauldron, the power of the 9 dragon cauldron increased again. It continued to suppress the head of the Wang family head, and it was in a stalemate. This guy is evil. He can summon cauldrons continuously. We must quickly suppress him, and not let him summon more cauldrons. A sonorous voice sounded, and the head of the Jiang family head took a step forward. He wanted to join forces with the head of the Wang family head to suppress Lu Ming. Now, 2 supreme beings had to join forces to deal with Lu Ming. It was like a dream. Clang. The head of the Jiang family head made his move. With a wave of his arm, everything was destroyed, and the heavens and earth were split open. It was really split open, and it wasn't just for show. A ferocious crack that was 100 miles long appeared between the heavens and earth. An incomparably sharp light slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed. He had no choice but to control a cauldron and attack the head of the Jiang family head. Clang. A cauldron was directly sent flying. The head of the Jiang family head didn't stop. His eyes were like divine swords, and he stepped towards Lu Ming. The dragon's roar shook the heavens, and the 9-dragon cauldron spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. The cauldron shook, and the sky rumbled. At this moment, another cauldron came crashing down. The 5th 9-dragon cauldron arrived. The 5th 9-dragon cauldron suppressed the head of the Jiang family head. The head of the Jiang family head roared, and his aura was wild. He punched out with both fists, and the 2 cauldrons were constantly sent flying. Lu Ming coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his face was a little pale. After all, the head of the Jiang family head was a supreme being. He had the cauldron to protect him, but he still suffered great pressure and coughed out blood. What are you waiting for? Why aren't you attacking? Are you waiting for him to summon more 9-dragon cauldrons? The head of the Jiang family head said coldly as he glanced at the remaining 4 heads of the Jiang family head. That's right. Let's take down this kid first. The head of the Luan family head said. He took a step forward, and his battle-intent soared into the sky. The eyes of the remaining 3 flashed, and then another person stepped out. This person was the head of one of the ancient families, the Kong family head. They wanted to join forces and end the battle quickly. Lu Ming was too demonic and strange. They were really afraid that Lu Ming would summon 9 dragon cauldrons. If the 9 cauldrons gathered together, who knew what would happen? Supreme beings need so many of you to join forces to deal with a junior. Have you lived for so long in vain? At this moment, an angry roar reverberated in the heavens and the earth, spreading for tens of thousands of miles. Many people were shocked. Who was it? How dare he scold the supreme beings? Did he want to die? Rip. In the next moment, the space in the sky cracked, and a figure stepped out. The figure looked to be in his 30s. He held a wine gourd in his hand and drank a few mouthfuls of wine. He stood in front of the head of the Luan family and the head of the Kong family, and his eyes were full of disdain. Yen Kuangtu, it's Yen Kuangtu. It's him, no wonder. Chapter 849. Everyone in 9 Dragons City knew who Yen Kuangtu was. He was the disciple of Supreme 9 Sons and the grand disciple of Martial Emperor Di. Not to mention his high status, his talent was even more shocking. In just 100 years, Yen Kuangtu had reached the supremacy realm. He was on par with his master, Supreme 9 Sons. Furthermore, Yen Kuangtu was arrogant, unruly, and lawless. He did not give face to anyone. When he was mad, he did not even give face to Emperor Di. He had almost destroyed a powerful force that was second only to the ancient families in anger, shaking 9 Dragons City. It was normal for such an existence to dare to scold the supremacies of the ancient families. But what was he trying to do? The patriarch of the Luan clan and the Kong clan frowned. Yen Kuangtu, what are you trying to do? Get out of my way. The patriarch of the Luan clan said coldly. There was a hint of fear in his eyes. What am I trying to do? You have all lived for thousands of years. How shameless. Let me tell you, Lu Ming is my little brother. If you want to touch him, you have to defeat me first. Yen Kuangtu drank a few mouthfuls of wine with a crazy look in his eyes. Many people were shocked. Yen Kuangtu called Lu Ming his little brother. It turned out that they knew each other. Yen Kuangtu knew Lu Ming? Brother Yen. Yen Kuangtu's appearance surprised Lu Ming and he could not help but call out. Brother Lu Ming, not bad. You can fight the supremacy at the sea spirit realm. Impressive, you are much more impressive than me. Yen Kuangtu burst into laughter. Yen Kuangtu, are you not going to get out of my way today? The patriarch of the Luan clan said coldly. Nonsense. Yen Kuangtu's reply was simple. All right, Yen Kuangtu, I would like to see how strong you are as the strongest genius after 9 sons. The patriarch of the Luan clan said coldly. A violent battle intent burst out as he took a step forward and threw out a punch. The punch was extremely terrifying, shattering the void. Yen Kuangtu opened his mouth and sucked a mouthful of wine from the wine gourd. At the same time, he threw out a punch. This punch was not as earth-shattering as the Luan clan's patriarch's punch. It seemed very ordinary. However, the result of this exchange of fists left everyone dumbfounded. When the two fists collided, a terrifying explosion occurred in the air. A figure staggered backwards. This figure was actually the head of the Luan family. The patriarch of the Luan clan was knocked back by Yan Kuangtu's punch. How was this possible? They were both supremes. How could Yan Kuangtu be so strong? Kill! The patriarch of the Luan clan roared as his battle-intent soared to the sky. A saber appeared in his hand as he charged towards Yan Kuangtu. Clang! A shocking sword aura soared into the sky, blooming from Yan Kuangtu's hand. The sword aura and the saber aura clashed. The saber aura shattered and the sword aura continued to slash down. How is this possible? The Luan family's patriarch roared in disbelief. The battle blade slashed out continuously to block Yan Kuangtu's sword light. Like teacher, like disciple. Jiuyang has taken in a good disciple. Yan Kuangtu, although you are strong, you can't protect Lu Ming. The head of the Kong family stepped forward and stood beside the head of the Luan family. Why not? Yan Kuangtu asked. Because Lu Ming is wanted by Her Majesty Empress Wu. We are also under orders to bring Lu Ming to see Her Majesty. The head of the Luan family said. Why does Her Majesty want Lu Ming? Yan Kuangtu frowned. Well, we don't know. So, you'd better get out of the way. Otherwise, if Her Majesty is unhappy, none of yous can bear the responsibility. The head of the Luan family sneered. Yan Kuangtu's frown deepened. He turned to look at Lu Ming and said, Brother Lu Ming, do you know why Her Majesty Empress Wu wants to see you? Is it because of the Divine Cauldron? Lu Ming controlled the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron to fight against the heads of the Jiang and Wang families. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. At this moment, he pondered for a moment and said, That old man D wants to see me because he likes my bloodline and wants to take it for himself. Lu Ming's voice was calm, but it was like a storm that stirred up thousands of waves. What did Lu Ming say? How dare you address Her Majesty Empress Wu in such a manner, and even slander her? Bastard, how dare he be so bold? Who does he think he is? He dares to say that Her Majesty Empress Wu wants his bloodline. It's just a level 2 divine bloodline. Why would Her Majesty Empress Wu want it? Slander, nonsense. This person should be cut into pieces as a warning to others. Countless people roared, looking at Lu Ming with cold and sinister gazes. Bastard, how dare you slander Her Majesty? You're courting death. The head of the Wang family roared and fought with all his might. Yan Kuangtu, you've seen this guy's character. He's simply lawless. We can't let him live. Why don't you get out of the way? The head of the Luan family said. Yan Kuangtu did not move and said, Today's matter, unless the martial ancestor comes to explain it in person, I, Yan Kuangtu, will not let you take Lu Ming away. Yan Kuangtu's words stunned many people. Crazy, he's really crazy. He actually wants Martial Emperor D to explain it in person. Everyone finally understood why Yan Kuangtu and Lu Ming would address each other as brothers. The two of them were basically the same kind of people. They were equally lawless and arrogant. Yan Kuangtu, how dare you? Since that's the case, we can only take you down first. Everyone, if we don't join forces now, when will we? The head of the Jiang family looked at the last two people. That's the only way. The head of the Dongfang family sighed and stepped out. Brother Nangong, go and help Brother Jiang and Brother Wang to take down Lu Ming. Leave Yan Kuangtu to us. All right. The head of the Nangong family stepped out and moved towards Lu Ming. The heads of the Dongfang family, Luan family, and Kong family unleashed their auras and shrouded towards Yan Kuangtu. The supremes of the 6 ancient families were joining forces. Get lost. Yan Kuangtu shouted coldly. His sword chi erupted. At this moment, his sword chi was filled with blazing flames. The temperature of the flames was even higher than that of the head of the Wang family. At the same time, the 3 supremes of the Luan family, Dongfang family, and Kong family also took action. Violent energy erupted and blasted towards Yan Kuangtu. They wanted to restrain Yan Kuangtu first. What can the 3 old men do to me? Yan Kuangtu roared. Suddenly, golden flames erupted from his body. The terrifying temperature spread for thousands of miles. The golden flames burst out along with the sword qi. Fire of the Golden Crow. The three supremes of the Luan family looked dignified. The three attacks collided with Yan Kuangtu's sword qi. After the explosion, Yan Kuangtu did not retreat a single step. This was incomparably shocking. Yan Kuangtu actually fought three supremes alone without retreating a single step. It was unbelievable. They were all supremes, but why was Yan Kuangtu so powerful? One should know that those who could reach the Supreme's realm were rare geniuses. They were all invincible existences of the same level. Otherwise, how could they reach the Supreme's realm? But now, Yan Kuangtu's battle strength was even stronger and more terrifying. On the other side, the head of the Nangong family erupted and attacked Lu Ming. But at this moment, the sky shook. Another large cauldron descended and blasted towards the head of the Nangong family. Chapter 850. 6 cauldrons, 1 for protection and 5 for offense. Lu Ming used the 6 nine-dragon cauldrons to fight against the 3 primes. Yan Kuangtu had single-handedly blocked 3 supreme beings. The 6 great primes of the 6 great ancient clans were all blocked. This scene caused countless people in the sky to be dumbfounded. Everything that happened today was simply inconceivable. The Jiang clan head was like a divine weapon. He sent 2 cauldrons flying and used bloodline fusion. Then, the Nangong clan head also used bloodline fusion. Together with the Wang clan head, the 3 primes of the ancient clans all used bloodline fusion to take down Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The entire sky was penetrated. The 3 primes joined forces and unleashed their strongest attack. It was too terrifying. Not many people below the martial emperor realm could face it. The 9-dragon cauldron vibrated continuously. The connection between the cauldron and the cauldron seemed to be disrupted. The pressure on Lu Ming was getting stronger and stronger. The bones all over his body made cracking sounds and fine beads of blood seeped out of his skin. He can't hold on any longer. The Wang clan head turned into a huge purple flaming sword. His heavenly fire burst out and spread towards Lu Ming. The 9-dragon bloodline roared and the 9-dragon cauldrons shook. However, it was still difficult to resist the attacks of the 3 primes. The Jiang clan head broke through the attack of one of the cauldrons and attacked Lu Ming. The first cauldron above Lu Ming's head shook and emitted a bright light. It attacked the Jiang clan head. There was a violent explosion. Lu Ming's body shook violently. He was sent flying along with the first cauldron. Blood spurted out of his mouth. Brother Lu Ming! Yan Kuangtu was shocked. His sword light soared into the sky. He wanted to rush out and save Lu Ming. Yan Kuangtu, do you really think the 3 of us are decorations? The Luan clan head roared and used bloodline fusion. He turned into an invincible god of war and attacked Yan Kuangtu. At the same time, the Kong clan head and the Dongfang clan head also used bloodline fusion. The bloodlines of the 3 clan heads were all level 6 divine realm. The 3 of them joined forces and unleashed a powerful attack. No matter how strong Yan Kuangtu was, he did not dare to be careless when facing the 3 primes. He let out a long cry and a huge golden divine bird appeared. This divine bird was shaped like a crow. Its entire body was golden in color, and it was covered in golden flames. The temperature of this golden flame was even more terrifying than the Wang clan's pure purple heavenly fire. This divine bird had 3 legs and 8 golden chakras around its body, which was extremely dazzling. Bloodline of the 8th level of the divine level, 3-legged golden crow. It was said that the sun was a terrifying divine realm divine beast. Yan Kuangtu's bloodline was the 3-legged golden crow, and he was a level 8 divine realm expert, 2 levels higher than the patriarch of the ancient aristocratic families. It was terrifying. No wonder he was so strong. Yan Kuangtu used bloodline fusion and turned into a 3-legged golden crow to fight the 3 primes. Heaven and earth were boiling. Endless energy formed a terrifying storm that spread out in all directions. Fortunately, even more domain-enlightened spirit gods had made an appearance at this moment, and they were distributed throughout the surroundings and joined forces to resist the force that was spreading towards the surroundings. Otherwise, an area of a few million kilometers would have been blasted apart by the joint forces of so many supreme exalts. Primes were too powerful. They could destroy a country with a flip of their hand. An empire like the Blazing Sun Empire could be destroyed with a single palm. They were unimaginably powerful. Yen Kuangtu was fighting the three primes. It was hard to determine the outcome of the battle. He couldn't get away to save Lu Ming. For a time, Lu Ming was completely suppressed. He was in a precarious situation. 6 divine cauldrons is his limit. He can't summon more cauldrons. The Wang clan head said. The attack was even more terrifying. What happened this time was completely beyond their expectations. They did not expect Lu Ming to be able to pull up the divine 9-dragon cauldron and summon 6 of them. This was something that had never happened since ancient times. In the end, even they had to join forces to deal with Lu Ming. Today, no matter what the outcome was, their reputation would plummet. All of this was because of Lu Ming. As the head of the Wang family who was the first to strike, he hated Lu Ming even more. Little bastard, don't put up a meaningless resistance. His Majesty has spoken. Your fate is sealed. The Wang clan head continued to speak with cold, killing intent. Don't make it sound so dignified. Even if the heavens want to suppress me, I will break through the heavens. Not to mention the divine 9-dragon cauldron, fight with me. Lu Ming roared. His voice was like a dragon's roar. The 9-dragon cauldron twisted and blood mist filled the air. Bang! Suddenly, one of the golden chakras on the 9-dragon cauldron exploded with a bang. The chakras exploded and the 9-dragon cauldron roared as if it was in extreme pain. Lu Ming also roared. His eyes were bloodshot. He felt that his soul was about to be torn apart. It was too painful. However, his gaze was still firm and unwavering. The chakras exploded and turned into a ray of golden light that seeped into the divine 9-dragon cauldron. Clang! The divine 9-dragon cauldron shook. The dragon carvings on the cauldron shone brightly. The 6 divine 9-dragon cauldrons roared. Boom! The sky trembled and the void collapsed. Another gigantic being flew over, suppressing the Wang clan leader. The 7th divine 9-dragon cauldron. The 9-dragon cauldron exploded and summoned the 7th divine 9-dragon cauldron. However, this was not the end. Cauldron, come. Lu Ming roared. His voice shook the sky. The sky shook. Then, another divine cauldron descended. The 8th cauldron. Impossible! The Wang clan head said in disbelief. Boom! Following the Wang clan head's roar, the sky shook again. Another divine 9-dragon cauldron descended. 9 divine 9-dragon cauldrons descended. When the 9 divine 9-dragon cauldrons gathered, the 9 divine cauldrons seemed to resonate strongly. All of them shone brightly and dragon roars shook the sky. The 9 divine cauldrons revolved around the one above Lu Ming's head. An unbelievably powerful aura spread out. 9 divine cauldrons gather and suppress the heavens. A voice sounded from the divine cauldron. Suppress. Lu Ming waved his hand and the 8 divine cauldrons around him pressed down. Bang, bang, bang. 3 loud explosions sounded. The Wang clan head and the other 2 supremes were sent flying. Impossible! The Wang clan head shouted in disbelief. I will kill you today and kill the supremes. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. He waved his hand and at least 6 of the 8 divine cauldrons flew towards the Wang clan head. The other 2 were used to defend against the other 2 supremes. Boom, boom. 6 divine cauldrons flew towards the Wang clan head. The Wang clan head's purple giant sword burst out with a shocking sword chi as he tried his best to defend himself. However, every time he tried to defend himself, he would be sent flying. The body of the sword kept shaking. After 6 times, the flames on the body of the purple sword withered a lot. It seemed to be severely injured. Lu Ming waved his hand again and the 6 divine cauldrons continued to press down. Bastard! How dare you! Chapter 851. With the 9 cauldrons gathered, the power of each cauldron increased significantly. 2 cauldrons were enough to block 2 primes. The other 6 cauldrons continued to suppress the Wang family head. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying explosions rang out continuously. The 6 divine cauldrons smashed onto the giant purple sword as if they were forging iron. The giant purple sword shook violently and the flames became weaker. After the 6 cauldrons took turns to smash it, the giant purple sword shrunk rapidly and turned back into the appearance of the Wang family head. However, the Wang family head was in a terrible state. His body was in tatters and there were many cracks on his body. Blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Tragic, too tragic. A Primes was beaten to such a state. Countless people rubbed their eyes hard, thinking that they were seeing things. The Wang family head was going crazy. He couldn't accept it. He was the family head of an ancient family, a Primes who dominated the Eastern Barren territory. But now, he was beaten to such a state by a junior in his 20s. No matter what method this junior used, he was humiliated and would become a laughingstock. If this news spread to other forces, they would definitely treat it as a joke. When he thought of that, he wanted to skin Lu Ming and pull out his tendons. Why are you screaming? Looks like I haven't fixed you enough. Then continue. Lu Ming said coldly. He controlled the 9-dragon cauldron and continued to suppress the Wang family head. The Wang family head was shocked and quickly retreated. Unfortunately, the 9-dragon cauldron had already locked onto him. It directly pierced through the void and smashed towards him. The Wang family head could only do his best to resist. Boom. The first cauldron made the Wang family head vomit blood. Then, the second cauldron made the Wang family head's hair disheveled and one of his arms shattered. However, the vitality of a Primes was terrifying. Even if his arm was broken, it could quickly regenerate and heal. However, the third cauldron continued to smash down. Everyone save me. The Wang family head was finally scared and began to ask the other Primes for help. It was rare to see a Primes being beaten to the point where he could only ask for help. The other 5 Primes also wanted to help. Unfortunately, how could they do so? Brother Lu Ming, well done. Yan Kuangta laughed. The 3-legged golden crow danced in the air, blocking the 3 supremes. As for the other 2 supreme beings, they were blocked by the 2 divine 9-dragon cauldrons and couldn't break through the barrier at all. Boom. The 3rd cauldron destroyed half of the Wang clan leader's body. Then, the 4th cauldron continued to press down. Countless people in the surroundings watched this scene with shock, and it included those domain-enlightened spirit gods. Ruthless, too inconceivable. Could it be that Lu Ming really intended to slaughter a supreme being? Was the head of the Wang clan really going to fall here today? Patriarch! Someone from the Wang clan shouted in fear. Good. In the crowd, the fatty laughed loudly, attracting the angry gazes of a group of people. Wang Haoxian's body was trembling. The impact of what was happening was even greater than before. The head of the Wang clan was the strongest in the Wang clan. Her old ancestor was a supreme existence in the Wang clan. But now, such an existence couldn't even keep his life in front of Lu Ming. How could this be? In the Ocean Wave Ancient Garden, Xiezhen watched this scene in a daze. His eyes almost popped out. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect Lu Ming to be so angry that he summoned the divine 9-dragon cauldrons to kill a supreme being. It was too shocking and too terrifying. The cauldrons were about to fall. With the Wang clan leader's current state, he wouldn't be able to resist at all. It was very likely that he would die on the spot. Enough! At that instant, a voice could be heard coming from the sky. It was as if the heavens were speaking, filled with an imperious aura. The hearts of the crowd shuddered after hearing the voice, as if they were facing the heavens and earth, causing them to feel like dropping to their knees. Then, countless people saw a 1,000-mile-long crack appear in the sky. A giant arm stretched out from the crack. It was as big as a mountain, like the hand of God. Above it, there were wills lingering around it. A terrifying and boundless aura spread out in a mighty manner. At that instant, the figures of the crowd began to tremble. Even the 9 Heavens Supremes were startled. The giant arm crushed down onto Lu Ming, causing a great pressure to encapsulate Lu Ming's figure. Lu Ming's figure almost exploded. The nine-dragon cauldron floating above him began to vibrate vigorously. Protection of the 9 cauldrons. Facing such a powerful force, he had no time to kill the head of the Wang clan. He controlled the 9 cauldrons to float around his body. The force of the Dominator Realm. This is the aura of a Dominator Realm expert, Martial Dominator D. Such words appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Lu Ming had once sensed the aura of a Dominator Realm expert from Liao Tsang. Although Liao Tsang was only a remnant soul at that time, his aura was still as powerful as the heavens, dominating the world. This arm was very similar to Liao Tsang's, but it was countless times more powerful. In the 9 Dragon City, Martial Dominator De was the only Dominator Realm expert. Martial Ancestor. Yen Kuangtu's eyes were filled with astonishment. Martial Dominator De, the hearts of the 6 exalts and numerous domain enlightened spirit gods shook greatly. Martial Dominator De had actually made a move himself. How could this be? How could this be? Old bastard, hurry up and come over. The fat man roared. However, no one in the surroundings was in the mood to pay attention to him. Their eyes were fixed on the sky. Rumble. The giant palm pressed down, causing the space to collapse. It was like the hand of the heavens. A terrifying pressure passed through the sky and pressed down on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body kept trembling, as if it would collapse at any time. The 9 divine 9-dragon cauldrons were floating in the air, but they kept vibrating. Lu Ming felt that he could not control them. The pressure was too strong. So what if you are a martial dominator? There was a maniacal look in Lu Ming's eyes. He lifted his head and roared. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared and the remaining golden chakra exploded with a loud bang. It turned into a golden ray of light and disappeared into the divine 9-dragon cauldron. Lu Ming coughed up blood. He was in great pain, but his eyes were still fixed on the sky. Dang dang, the 9 cauldrons vibrated and their chi surged. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, the 9 cauldrons merged into a single cauldron. A terrifying energy burst out from the cauldrons and shot towards Huang Dao's palm. In the next moment, the giant cauldron and the palm collided. However, the strange thing was that there was no movement and no energy was shot out. The giant cauldron and the palm were motionless in the air, as if they were in a stalemate. Heavens! Countless people only had one word in their hearts. Lu Ming controlled the divine 9-dragon cauldron and blocked Martial Dominator De Yi's attack. This scene was unbelievable. Countless people felt that their hearts were in their throats, and they were about to stop beating. Chapter 852. At this moment, the world was in complete silence. Even the sound of breathing and heartbeats seemed to have stopped. Awakening the 9 dragons' bloodline with a drop of the 9 dragons' blood essence is indeed amazing. You can actually use a trace of the divine 9-dragon cauldron's power to block my palm. At this moment, the incomparably imposing voice from the heavens sounded again. However, how much power can a mere sea of soul realm cultivator bring out of the divine 9-dragon cauldron? How can you really stop me? Break. As the last word of break was heard, the palm shook slightly and a palm force several times stronger than before burst out. Boom. This time, the whole world seemed to be shaking. The sky and the earth within 100,000 miles were shaking. The divine 9-dragon cauldron was the first to bear the brunt of the impact and let out a loud explosion. The 9 dragons' bloodline wrapped around the divine 9-dragon cauldron wailed and turned into a beam of blood light, rushing into Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's body shook violently as if it was about to explode. At this moment, lightning appeared on Lu Ming's forehead. The lightning cauldron swam around Lu Ming's body, preventing Lu Ming from being smashed into pieces. It was the lightning cauldron in his sea of consciousness. In the sky, the divine 9-dragon cauldron shook and then split into 9, turning back into 9 lightning cauldrons. At this moment, without the 9 dragons' bloodline and under the powerful attack, the connection between the 9 divine cauldrons seemed to have disappeared. They shook and then flew away in all directions, returning to the dragon heads of the 9 dragon veins. After the divine 9-dragon cauldron flew away, the huge palm continued to fall. Lu Ming could not resist at all. He spat out mouthfuls of blood, as if he was going to be turned into ashes under this palm. Ding. At this moment, Lu Ming's forehead glowed and a lightning cauldron rushed out automatically, turning into the size of a mountain. Why? Why is there another lightning cauldron? Countless people were dumbfounded. They could not believe it. You do have a lot of secret treasures, but how can you stop me? The palm pressed down, slamming into the lightning cauldron. The lightning cauldron trembled, and lightning flashed in all directions. In the end, the lightning cauldron was unable to withstand the force of the palm and was sent flying back into Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's body shook violently as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. His body fell like a cannonball. Rumble. Martial Emperor Di's palm prints did not stop and continued to fall. However, at that moment, Lu Ming's falling body suddenly emitted rays of golden light. When the golden light spread, Lu Ming's body stopped falling. The area between Lu Ming's eyebrows shone brightly. A huge palace floated out and dashed upward. Countless people almost bit off their tongues. There were too many treasures in Lu Ming's body. They flew out one after another, and each one was incomparably terrifying. Was he still human? There's someone below the palace. Someone exclaimed. The palace that flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows rapidly expanded. Below the palace, there was an indomitable figure. Senior 9 sons. Lu Ming's heart shook violently. That palace was the Temple of Paragon, and the silhouette below it was Paragon Jiuyang. Us, Master. When the figure appeared, Yan Kuangtu shouted in disbelief. At the same time, the 6 supremes and many spiritual gods widened their eyes in disbelief. 9 sons destroy the world. Supreme 9 sons said. Suddenly, 9 suns appeared around the Temple of Paragon. The 9 suns were like real suns in the sky, emitting endless light. The 9 suns, together with the Temple of Paragon, collided with the huge palm print. There was an earth-shattering explosion. The space in that area was instantly crushed, revealing a dark and endless void that devoured the terrifying energy. Otherwise, the explosion of energy would have turned everything within 100,000 miles into ashes. Clang. The Temple of Paragon trembled violently. It was supported by a tall figure and fell down. The giant palm seemed to have used up all its energy and collapsed because of the repeated obstructions. The light dissipated, and the 9 suns around the Temple of Paragon disappeared. Supreme 9 Suns figure appeared clearly. Master! Yan Kuangtu shouted. His body trembled slightly. He was extremely excited. Xia Jiuyang, is it really you? Didn't you die? The Jiang family patriarch shouted. The other supremes and experts also looked at Supreme 9 Suns in disbelief. Many people of the younger generation also widened their eyes in shock. They couldn't believe it. Who didn't know the name Supreme 9 Suns? The 9 Suns bloodline was unparalleled in the world. When he was alive, he was the war god of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. He was extremely powerful and was known as the strongest supreme in the eastern wilderness. Even emperors didn't dare to underestimate him. Such a peerless person had died more than 50 years ago. Many people were shocked and couldn't believe it. However, Emperor Di had announced it himself, so no one doubted it. But now, Supreme 9 Suns had appeared again and was helping Lu Ming against Emperor Di. What was going on? Kuangtu, I haven't seen you for a few decades and you've already grown so much. You're worthy of being my disciple. Supreme 9 Suns looked at Yan Kuangtu and laughed. He was satisfied. Master, what happened back then? Why are you only left with a remnant soul? Where's your real body? Who harmed you? Yan Kuangtu was extremely excited. He asked several questions in succession. The others were also very curious. Back then, Emperor Di had only announced the death of Supreme 9 Suns, but he hadn't said anything specific. Many people had been wondering about that for a few decades. Supreme 9 Suns was extremely powerful. Who could kill him? Even emperors wouldn't be able to kill Supreme 9 Suns easily. 9 Suns, you're only left with a remnant soul. Do you still want to betray your master? At that moment, a voice filled with pressure came from the huge spatial crack in the sky. As the voice faded, a middle-aged man stepped out from the spatial crack. The middle-aged man had a tall build. He stood in the sky with his hands behind his back. An imperious aura was emitted from him. Countless people felt like they were facing the universe when they saw the figure. Their hearts were filled with reverence, and they had the urge to kneel down and worship him. That was the imperious aura of a dominator. "Greetings, Your Majesty." At that moment, countless people from all directions bowed. Their eyes were filled with admiration and reverence. Even Ruan Tingting, Wang Haoxian, and the others did the same. Only the fatty stood straight without moving. Emperor Di glanced around and nodded his head. "Betray? Ha, don't you think it's funny?" Supreme Nine Sons burst out laughing. Countless people were shocked. Supreme Nine Sons had called Emperor Yi by his name. It didn't seem like he was facing his own master. Why was that? However, no one said anything. If someone else had called Emperor Di by his name, someone would have jumped out and reprimanded him. However, it was Supreme Nine Sons who had spoken. He was also a supreme figure. Everyone chose to keep their mouths shut. Even the patriarchs of the 6 great ancient clans' eyes flickered. They didn't do anything. Chapter 853. At that moment, Lu Ming was in a bad state. His whole body was in pain and he had a splitting headache. It was as if his soul was about to be torn apart. His vision turned black and he was about to fall unconscious. Hold on. Lu Ming roared in his heart. "Kuang Tu, don't you want to know who killed me? It's the famous martial emperor in front of you, your martial ancestor." Supremacy Jiang looked at Yan Kuang-tu and said. His words were like thunder from the 9 heavens and an endless storm, sweeping through the crowd. Countless people opened their eyes wide and looked at Supremacy Jiang and Martial Emperor. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Supremacy Jiang had been killed by Martial Emperor Di. Now, only a wisp of his soul was left. What was going on? Supremacy Jiang was the god of war of the Heavenly Divine Palace, the strongest supremacy of the Eastern Barren Territory. He had fought for the Heavenly Divine Palace and made great contributions. Why did Martial Emperor Di want to kill him? Yan Kuang-tu opened his eyes wide and said in disbelief, "Why?" "That's because he needs my bloodline. If he kills me, he'll be able to take my bloodline and use it to cultivate a technique." Supremacy Jiang's voice was heard. Now, everyone was even more shocked. The other 6 supremacies' eyes flickered and they looked thoughtful. Martial Emperor kept his hands behind his back and looked calm. "Chang, back then, you colluded with the Corpse Emperor and tried to kill me. That's why I attacked you. It seems like you still hate me and want to slander me." At that moment, Martial Emperor Di's voice was heard again. Everyone was even more shocked. Back then, it was Supremacy Jiang who colluded with the Corpse Emperor to harm Martial Emperor Di. That's why Martial Emperor Di attacked Supremacy Jiang? How could there be such an inside story? Ha! Supremacy Jiang suddenly laughed and said, You're an Emperor Realm expert. It's fine that you plotted against me, but you actually deceived me. Xia Jiang was really blind back then. How could I have become your disciple? Xia Jiang, how dare you plot against His Majesty Martial Emperor? You deserve to die. Now that you dare to come back, I'll kill you. The patriarch of the Jiang clan shouted. The others looked at Supremacy Jiang. Supreme Nine Yang laughed coldly and did not explain further. He knew that there was no point in explaining. This was all because of strength. Emperor Yi was an expert of the Emperor Path, a lofty existence. How strong was he? On that day, even if the Jiao Yang Zun showed proof that Emperor Yi had harmed him back then, the others wouldn't betray Emperor. They would stand on Emperor Di Yi's side. This was because of strength. Who would betray Martial Emperor Di Yi for a half-dead person? That would be stupid. If they left the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, where would they find such a good cultivation environment and cultivation resources? Who would protect them? Moreover, Martial Emperor Di had already given him a reason. Jiao Yang had colluded with the Heavenly Corpse Sex Corpse Emperor and wanted to kill him. That was why he was killed. Regardless of whether this reason was true or false, this reason was enough. Supreme Nine Yang knew this very well, so he didn't say anything else, nor did he try to explain. Without strength, what was the point of saying so much? Jiao Yang, You only have a wisp of remnant soul left. Do you still want to fight me? Surrender now. Emperor Di said. Supreme Zhuyang smiled and did not respond. Instead, he looked at Yan Kuangtu and said, Kuangtu, do you believe me or Di? I believe in Master. Yan Kuangtu's eyes flashed with determination. Good, I was right about you. Next, I will block Di. You take Lu Ming and rush out. Remember, you must take Lu Ming and rush out. Supreme Nine Yang said. Master, let's go together. Yan Kuangtu shouted. Let's go. Supreme Nine Suns roared. His body emitted a dazzling light as 9 blazing suns appeared once again. A pair of evil disciples. You are indeed ambitious. Today, none of you can leave, shouted Emperor Di coldly. A supreme chi exploded from his body and shook the earth. Emperor Di stretched out his hand and pressed down. A gigantic hand formed and moved towards Yan Kuangtu and the 9 Suns cultivator. Take Lu Ming away, shouted Supreme Nine Suns. His body shone even brighter as he burned his soul. The supreme temple shook and 9 suns appeared, attacking the gigantic hand. Yan Kuangtu shouted and turned into a 3-legged golden crow. His pure chi wrapped around Lu Ming and rushed out. However, Emperor Yi was too terrifying. His hand covered the sky and suppressed the space. The sky and the earth seemed to be covered by his hand. Boom! Supreme Nine Suns Supreme Temple and Emperor Di's gigantic hand collided fiercely. The earth shook and the space was torn apart. It looked like the end of the world. Everyone in the area retreated one after another. Within tens of thousands of kilometers, only the 6 paragons remained. Yan Kuangtu let out a long howl and opened his mouth to spit out a golden flame divine sword. However, it was still blocked. Suddenly, a huge palm appeared in front of him and collided with the golden flame. Yan Kuangtu's body trembled and he was forced to retreat. Although Lu Ming was under Yan Kuangtu's protection, he was still shaken by the aftershocks. His body was in more pain and his vision turned black. "Brave!" shouted Supreme Nine Suns furiously. The 9 suns shone even brighter, completely suppressing the real sun in the sky. Supreme Nine Suns' body shone with a dazzling light. "Teacher!" shouted Yan Kuangtu. Supreme Nine Suns was burning his soul. In the end, he might not even be able to protect his soul. Evil disciple, suppress. Emperor Di's eyes looked even colder. He waved his hand and an even more terrifying palm attack was launched. Boom! The Supreme Divine Palace collided with the palm and shook violently. In the end, with a loud bang, a corner of the Supreme Divine Palace was blasted apart and shattered rocks flew everywhere. Supreme Nine Suns' body trembled violently. The golden crow cried and soared into the sky. The golden crow's fire turned into a dazzling sword light and collided with the hand. Explosions sounded continuously and the sword light was destroyed. The golden crow's body trembled and fell down. At that moment, Lu Ming felt that the world was getting darker and darker. He looked at the battle in the sky and then at the Hai Lan ancient garden. Then, his vision darkened and he fell into an endless darkness. His injuries were too severe. The 9 dragons' bloodline had exploded 2 golden chakras, causing him to be severely injured. In addition, he had controlled the 9 dragons' cauldron to fight against the Supremes. He had even exchanged a blow with Martial Emperor Di. His injuries were extremely severe. In the end, he could not hold on any longer and fainted. "Shaoqing, I'm too weak. I can't take you away." That was Lu Ming's last thought before he fainted. Lu Ming fainted but the battle became more intense. Let's go. Chapter 854. However, Emperor Yi was too strong. He had completely blocked their path. No matter how hard they tried, it was useless. Boom, boom. The Temple of Paragon and Emperor Di's palms collided with each other. The Temple of Paragon kept shaking. More and more places exploded. In the end, the entire Temple of Paragon cracked. "Old bastard, why aren't you here yet? Are you doing this on purpose?" The fat guy in the crowd shouted angrily. In the sky, Supreme Nine Suns and Yan Kuangtu had joined forces to fight against Emperor Di. The people who were watching the battle, including the 6 Supremes, were astonished. Supremacy Jiang and Yan Kuangtu, this pair of master and disciple, were too powerful, too insane. They were able to fight Martial Emperor Di to such an extent, how terrifying. They're doomed to die today. Although Supreme Nine Suns is burning his soul, he can't fight against Emperor Di for long. The patriarch of the Jiang clan said coldly. Without breaking through to the Huangqi layer, fighting against a Huangqi layer is an unwise decision. No matter how strong you are, you will still lose. Since ancient times, there has never been a Zun cultivator who could defeat a Huangqi layer. The patriarch of the Luan clan said. Bang, bang. The temple of Paragon shook more and more violently. It kept collapsing and exploding. Supreme Nine Suns' remnant soul started shaking as if it would disappear at any time. Teacher! Yan Kuangtu gritted his teeth and protected Lu Ming. He tried his best to fight back, but his body was shaking and blood was flowing out of his mouth. The situation was getting worse. Damn it! Old bastard, he must be doing this on purpose. I don't care, I'll fight. The fat guy kept cursing. In the end, he gritted his teeth and rushed out of the crowd. He rushed towards Emperor Di and Supreme Nine Suns. Fatty, what are you doing? Ruan Tingting shouted. She was terrified. The others looked at the fat guy as if he was crazy. The fat guy dared to rush into the battlefield of Supreme Nine Suns and Martial Emperors. He was courting death. If he was hit by a strand of energy, he would be turned into ashes. He was crazy. However, the fatty's eyes were filled with viciousness as he muttered, Old fart, I know you don't want to get involved in this mess. But now, your dearest and only disciple is about to die. Let's see if you still want to care. Fatty let out a low roar and charged toward the battlefield at top speed. Countless gazes were attracted by the fatty and landed on him. Everyone thought in their hearts that this fatty was crazy. The eyes of the Nine Heavens Supremes flickered, but they did not stop him. Since this ant-like thing was courting death, there was no need for them to stop him. Once he got close to the battlefield, only death would await him. Just as Fatty was about to reach the battlefield, a terrifying shockwave from the battle swept through the void. Wherever the shockwave passed, the void collapsed. A pitch-black spatial crack swept towards Fatty. Old bastard, if you don't come, I'm going to die here. Fatty roared. At that moment, the space behind Fatty cracked open. A huge axe slashed out from the void. The spatial crack was destroyed by the axe. The axe did not stop. It continued to slash towards Martial Emperor Di. Martial Emperor Di's face turned solemn. He slashed with his palm and a shocking sword glow burst out, clashing with the huge axe. It was as if the heavens and the earth had been split open. A brilliant light shone, causing the space to collapse. An endless force entered the void. At the same time, the sword glow and the axe canceled each other out and disappeared. Heavens, countless people were dumbfounded. Who came here? How could he fight against Martial Emperor? Behind Fatty, a tall figure stepped out from the spatial crack. It was an old man with a messy white beard. However, his body was extremely fat. He looked like an older version of Kong Jin. He stood beside Fatty, his body emitting a terrifying and supreme aura. This aura was very similar to Martial Emperor Di's aura. Martial Emperor, this is a Martial Emperor expert. Countless people's hearts twitched. Everything that happened today was beyond their imagination. At first, it was the spiritual gods, then the Supremes. In the end, even the Supreme Nine Suns and Martial Emperor Di showed up. Now, another Martial Emperor had shown up. All of this was because of Lu Ming. Because of this young man, these peerless experts had appeared one after another. It made many people feel like they were dreaming. Demonic sky old monster, this has nothing to do with you. Are you going to be my enemy? Martial Emperor Di looked at the fat old man. Martial Emperor Di's words shocked even more people. Demonic Sky Divine Emperor. This old man is actually the Demonic Sky Divine Emperor. The Demonic Sky Divine Emperor was an extremely famous peerless expert in the Eastern Barren region. He was famous before Martial Emperor Di. He was a true Martial Emperor expert. However, the Demonic Sky Divine Emperor did not like to establish a force. He liked to live in seclusion and his whereabouts were unpredictable. Almost no one knew where he was. In the past few thousand years, the demonic Sky Divine Emperor had disappeared without a trace. No one had seen him. It was rumored that the demonic Sky Divine Emperor had died because his lifespan had run out. For thousands of years, countless people in the Eastern Barren region had acknowledged this fact. They had never expected that the demonic Sky Divine Emperor would appear again after thousands of years. He had not died at all. The King Realm had a lifespan of 1,000 years. The Sea Spirit Realm had a lifespan of 2,000 years. The Spiritual Embryo Realm had a lifespan of 3,000 years. The Spiritual God Realm had a lifespan of 5,000 years. However, once one broke through to the Martial Emperor realm, his lifespan would increase greatly and reach more than 10,000 years. However, the lifespan of a Martial Emperor realm martial artist was uncertain. The short ones could only live for 10,000 years, but the long ones could live for 20,000 years. The demonic Sky Divine Emperor was definitely more than 15,000 years old. Therefore, many people thought that he had died. You are an martial emperor expert. How can you make things difficult for a few juniors? Is it fun? It's too shameful. The demonic Sky Divine Emperor laughed. This is a matter of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. It's not your place to worry about it. Please leave. Martial Emperor Di said coldly. Master Lu Ming is my brother. We swore that we would live and die together. No matter what, we have to save him today. Otherwise, you will lose me as your disciple. The fatty shouted. I don't care about the matters of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, but that little guy is my disciple's brother. If he dies, my disciple will die too. I am in a difficult position. How about this? I don't care about your two disciples, but I will take that little guy away. The demonic Sky Divine Emperor pointed at Lu Ming and said, Demonic Sky Divine Emperor, it seems like you want to be my enemy? Martial Emperor Di's face darkened. His target was Lu Ming. How could he let the demonic Sky Divine Emperor take him away? So what if I am your enemy? You're just a clone now. Your real body is far away, right? Do you think I am afraid of you? Chapter 855. You little guys, go quickly. Leave D to me. The demonic Sky Divine Emperor glanced at Supreme Nine Suns and slashed at D with his axe. The axe could split the sky, as if it was going to split the entire Jiolong city. Thank you, Senior. Kwang, let's go. Supreme Nine Suns said and rushed to the side with Yen Kwangtu. You guys, stop those two bastards. D slashed out a shocking sword light and fought with the demonic Sky Divine Emperor. At the same time, he ordered the 6 great ancient families. Yes. The 6 great ancient families responded and surrounded Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kwangtu. You guys are courting death. Yen Kwangtu roared and attacked violently. However, Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kwangtu had been injured during the battle with D. They were not as strong as before. They were blocked by the 6 great ancient families and could not rush out. Today, none of you can leave. The Wang family was furious. He had been seriously injured by Lu Ming and had almost died. It was a great humiliation. He wanted to skin Lu Ming alive. How could he let Lu Ming leave safely? His attacks were the most frenzied. He attacked Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kwangtu without any regard for his life. Is that so? Explode. Supreme Nine Suns suddenly snorted and controlled the Temple of Paragon to attack the Wang family. During the collision, the Temple of Paragon emitted a dazzling light and a terrifying aura. I know. The Wang family quickly retreated. But it was too late. Boom. The Temple of Paragon exploded like a sun. A terrifying power swept out and engulfed the Wang family's family. The Wang family's family screamed. His body was broken and half of his body had exploded. He had almost died. Miserable, too miserable. The Wang family's family had almost been killed by Lu Ming. He had barely recovered when the Temple of Paragon exploded and almost died. Charge! Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kwangtu rushed forward quickly. The self-destruction of the Temple of Paragon opened up a path. The two of them brought Lu Ming out of the encirclement. Rip. The three-legged golden crow that Yen Kuangtu had transformed into tore at the space with its claws. He and Supreme Nine Suns rushed into the space crack and disappeared. Chase after him. Emperor Yi was furious and roared. The other 5 supreme beings tore through the space and chased after Yen Kuangtu and the others. In the Nine Dragons City, countless people were stunned. Supremacy Jianghu and Yen Kuangtu escaped with Lu Ming. There were still 2 Imperial Plane cultivators fighting in the sky. Today's battle was destined to shock the entire eastern wilderness. Lu Ming's name was destined to attract everyone's attention. 3 days later, in the west of Nine Dragon City, on a mountain peak far away, a figure was sitting cross-legged. Another figure was constantly patting the former's body, sending streams of true yuan into the latter's body. After a while, the latter figure finally stopped slapping. These 2 figures were Lu Ming and Yen Kuangtu. Lu Ming sat cross-legged as Yen Kuangtu healed him. After nearly 3 days of rushing, they had finally shaken off the 5 patriarchs of the ancient families. Yen Kuangtu was healing Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella shone, and a black bead flew out. Then, Supreme Nine Suns' remnant soul flew out of the bead. At this moment, Supreme Nine Suns' remnant soul was extremely weak, as if it would dissipate at any time. "How is Lu Ming?" Supreme Nine Suns asked. "Master, Lu Ming is seriously injured, but after my treatment he is much better. He should wake up soon," Yen Kuangtu said. At this moment, Lu Ming's body trembled. He spat out a mouthful of blood and slowly opened his eyes. "Where am I?" Lu Ming opened his eyes. The environment in front of him stunned him. Wasn't he in Nine Dragon City? Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu were fighting against Martial Emperor Di, but it was calm here. Where were the traces of a battle? Then he saw Yen Kuangtu and Supreme Nine Suns. "Senior Nine Suns, Brother Yen." Lu Ming was overjoyed when he saw Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu. This battle started because of him, but it implicated Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu. If anything happened to Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu, he would feel uneasy. Now that he saw that both of them were here, he finally felt relieved. "Lu Ming, how are you feeling? You have been unconscious for 3 days." Supreme Nine Suns said. 3 days? Lu Ming was shocked and said, "I'm much better now." "Senior Nine Suns, where is this? Are we not in Nine Dragon City anymore?" Lu Ming asked. He was curious. If Martial Emperor Yi had attacked, Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu would not have been able to escape. Perhaps something else had happened while he was unconscious. "Yes, we are not in Nine Dragon City. We are very far away from it. We are almost out of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's territory." Yen Kuangtu nodded and continued, "This time, we are lucky to have the help of the demonic Sky Divine Emperor. Otherwise, we would not have been able to escape from Di's evil hands." The demonic Sky Divine Emperor is that legendary Emperor Realm expert? Lu Ming was shocked. He did not understand why the demonic Sky Divine Emperor would help them. Could it be that Supreme Nine Suns and Yen Kuangtu had asked for help? "Yes, it's that senior. His disciple seems to be your brother. That's why the demonic Sky Divine Emperor helped," Supreme Nine Suns explained. "My brother?" Lu Ming was even more surprised. Buzz. At that moment, the space in the sky suddenly cracked. Lu Ming was shocked. "It should be Senior Demonic Sky," Yen Kuangtu said. Obviously, they had contacted each other before. Sure enough, a few figures stepped out of the space crack. One of the elders was the demonic Sky Divine Emperor. Beside the demonic Sky Divine Emperor were a young man and a young woman. Fatty Ting Ting. Seeing the 2 young people, Lu Ming was overjoyed. The 2 young people were Fatty and Ruan Ting Ting. "Lu Ming, haha, are you okay?" Fatty grinned and flew toward Lu Ming. "I'm fine." Lu Ming smiled faintly. He finally knew who his brother was. It must be Fatty. He had never expected Fatty's master to be the legendary demonic Sky Divine Emperor. Junior pays his respects to Senior Demonic Sky. "Thank you for your help this time." Supreme Nine Sons and Yen Kuangtu stepped forward and bowed to thank the demonic sky divine emperor. Junior Lu Ming thanks Senior Demonic Sky for your help. Lu Ming stepped forward and bowed as well. Don't mention it. If it weren't for my unfilial disciple, I wouldn't have bothered to help. I've offended D for no reason. The demonic sky divine emperor twisted his lips. Old man, are you afraid of martial dominator D? Fatty twisted his lips and glanced at the demonic sky divine emperor. Supreme Nine Sons, Yen Kuangtu, Lu Ming, and Ruan Tingting felt their eyelids twitching. They almost bit their tongues. Old man. Chapter 856. The demonic sky sovereign was enraged. He glared and scolded, "Little brat, what did you say? Do you think I am afraid of that brat D? When I roamed the world, your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather was not even born yet. Little brat, let me tell you, I am afraid of getting into trouble. Do you know that?" However, the fatty still curled his lips and looked at the demonic sky sovereign suspiciously. The demonic sky sovereign's aura weakened a little. He said, "Little brat, what do you know? Let me tell you, he is really amazing and his cultivation is extremely high. This time, it's lucky that it's only his doppelganger. His real body should be practicing overseas. Otherwise, even I may not be able to stop him." Supreme Nine Yang and Yen Kuangtu nodded. They were very clear about Di Yi's strength. If he was not strong, how could he establish the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace in the Eastern Desolate region and contend with the Sky Beast Valley? Before the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect did not exist. At that time, there was the Talisman Puppet sect and other overlord factions. All the human factions had to work together to contend with the Sky Beast Valley. Now, just the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace alone could contend with the Sky Beast Valley. This showed how strong Di was. After this battle, Di Yi's main body will definitely return from overseas. However, those that can help Di Yi cultivate must be very far away from the Divine Desolate region. It will be impossible for him to return in a short time. However, when he returns, he will definitely do his best to find you. What are your plans after this? The demonic sky sovereign asked. Senior, we plan to head to the Talisman Puppet sect and let Lu Ming prepare for the Battle of Luck. Supreme Nine Yang said. This. Even if Di Yi's main body comes personally, he will not be able to break through the Talisman Puppet sect's Yinyang Mountain. It is a pretty good place. The demonic sky sovereign nodded. Senior Nine Yang, are we going to the Talisman Puppet sect next? Then my parents. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. He thought of Lu Yuntian and the others. The Lu clan was in the territory of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Little guy, this little brat has already told me about your situation. The place where I live in seclusion is in the eastern part of the eastern wilderness. It's not far from your hometown. As for your parents, I will take care of them. Also, although Emperor Di doesn't do things the right way, he's still a martial emperor. He won't harm your family for you. Otherwise, if the news spread that he, a martial emperor, couldn't deal with a Sea of Soul Realm Junior and threatened him with his family, he wouldn't be able to survive in the Eastern Barren Territory anymore. The demonic Sky Emperor said. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He quickly bowed towards the Devil Sky Emperor and said, Lu Ming thanks Senior again. Little guy, you don't have to be so polite. Since you've offended D, there's no harm in helping you with this little favor. Just take it for the sake of this little bastard. The demonic Sky Emperor waved his hand. Actually, he had another plan in mind. Lu Ming was not someone to be trifled with. He actually dared to make a move in the face of an emperor. His determination and guts shocked him. Ordinary people would be lucky if they could stand firmly when facing an Emperor Heaven Divine Emperor, let alone attack him. Under such a mighty aura, they couldn't even summon the slightest bit of fighting spirit. They would be defeated before the battle. However, Lu Ming, who was only in the spiritual sea realm, was still able to go against the flow. It was really rare. If Lu Ming could surpass D in the future, his future would be limitless. As for the demonic Sky Emperor, he didn't have much time left. If he could use this opportunity to build a good relationship with Lu Ming, Kong Jin would be able to use Lu Ming's strength to go further in the future. He was planning for Kong Jin. The demonic Sky Emperor looked at Supreme Nine Yang and asked, "Actually, I'm very curious. Why did Di want to kill you back then? Why does he want to capture Lu Ming now?" At the side, Yan Kuangtu, the fatty, and Ruan Tingting also looked at Supreme Nine Yang curiously. It was like this back then. Immediately, Nine Sun's supremacy explained the cause and effect of the matter to Chu Feng. "Damn it, Di is actually so despicable. To think that I fought for him for so many years." Yan Kuangtu growled, his anger soaring to the sky. "I really didn't expect Di to be so despicable and unscrupulous. It seems that Di is planning something big," the demonic Sky Emperor said in a low voice. "Indeed, according to my speculation, Di's plan is not as simple as the Eastern Wilderness," Supreme Nine Yang said. "Okay, I have to go too. I'm old. I'll have to rely on you guys to deal with Di in the end." The demonic Sky Emperor nodded and said, "Lu Ming, in half a year, I'll go to the Talisman Puppet Sect to find you and participate in the Battle of Providence together. I won't fight for the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace." The fatty said, "Lu Ming, I'll take my leave too." Ruan Tingting walked over and said, "Okay, take care. See you in the Battle of Providence." Lu Ming cupped his fists. "Let's go, little brat. When you go back this time, you'd better cultivate well. Now you know that there's always someone better out there." The demonic Sky Emperor scolded. With a wave of his hand, he swept up the fatty and Ruan Tingting, tore open the space, and stepped in. Then the space recovered and they disappeared. "Lu Ming, here's what you left in the Temple of Paragon. Take it." The Temple of Paragon has collapsed. Supreme Nine Yang took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. "Senior Nine Yang, are you all right?" Lu Ming took it. Looking at Supreme Nine Yang's weak remnant soul, Lu Ming felt terrible. Supreme Nine Yang's soul power had recovered a lot, but this time, he was even weaker than before. This time, it was all because of him. "Lu Ming, don't worry. I'm fine. You don't have to blame yourself. This battle is good for us," Supreme Nine Yang said, as if he had seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. "Good." Lu Ming was stunned. "That's right. When you unleashed your bloodline, the primes of the ancient families immediately rushed over. This means that Di had already noticed the appearance of the Nine Dragons bloodline in Nine Dragon City, so he sent people to keep an eye on it. I've underestimated Di. If that's the case, it's even more dangerous for you. We don't know when Di will find out. If he secretly attacks, we won't even have a chance to fight back. After this battle, the first benefit is that both sides are now clear and there is no need to worry about Di secretly attacking. Furthermore, after this battle, Kuangtu has also followed us out. With Kuangtu's help, my soul power will definitely recover even faster. After this, Kuangtu will be of great help to you in controlling the Talisman Puppet Sect. In addition, we can also befriend the demonic Sky Emperor. If the demonic Sky Emperor helps us at a critical moment, it will be of great help to us. These are all benefits, Supreme Nine Yang explained. Lu Ming nodded. Indeed, with Yan Kuangtu's help, he would be more confident in his trip to the Talisman Puppet Sect. "I have this soul-gathering pearl that can slowly recover my soul power. What we need to do now is to heal your injuries and then go to the Talisman Puppet Sect. After you've settled down in the Talisman Puppet Sect, Kuangtu will bring me to find treasures to recover my soul power." Chapter 857. Lu Ming, let's go. "Let's leave this place first and find a place to recuperate," Yan Kuang said. His quintessence wrapped around Lu Ming. Then he tore space apart, and the two's figures disappeared. One day later, they had already left the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's territory and entered the Talisman Puppet Sect's territory. The territory that the Talisman Puppet Sect occupied was much smaller than the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's. However, it still had more than 30 large regions. There was a small lake between the vast mountains, looking like a resplendent pearl. Lu Ming sat cross-legged by the lake and circulated the true dragon battle art to treat his injuries. Yan Kuangtu sat cross-legged on a tall mountain several li away, also treating his injuries. Back then, when Yan Kuangtu fought with martial monarch Di, he was also injured. Nine Dragon City was not calm. Although the great battle was over, the commotion caused by it spread far and wide. Countless people discussed this matter. The names of Lu Ming, Yan Kuangtu, and Supreme Nine Sons were discussed by countless people. There was a divine nine-dragon cauldron guarding the heads of the nine dragon veins. After the great battle, the nine divine cauldrons returned to their old places. They were like immemorial divine mountains, unmoving for eternity. Countless people went to the heads of the nine dragon veins to observe. Many people even went forward, hoping to imitate Lu Ming and pull out the cauldrons. Unfortunately, they were destined to be disappointed. How could they touch the divine cauldrons that martial monarchs could not? But why can Lu Ming pull out the cauldrons and even summon the nine cauldrons while others can't? What secret does he have? Perhaps he obtained the divine nine dragon cauldrons' acknowledgement? Acknowledgement? There are conditions for that. I heard that it has something to do with Lu Ming's bloodline. It is said that martial monarch Di made a move for this bloodline. Now that Lu Ming is not dead, do you think he will return one day and summon the nine cauldrons? Shoo! Be quiet. Do you want to die? Countless people discussed this. However, when it came to sensitive topics, they were all careful. No matter how the wind blew, the nine cauldrons did not move, as if they were waiting for their master. Time flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. Beside the small lake, a faint light appeared on Lu Ming's body, and a sound like a tsunami came from his body. After a while, the sound subsided and Lu Ming opened his eyes. My injuries have been healed. Unfortunately, the nine dragons' bloodline exploded its golden chakra and returned to level 9 King Realm. But it doesn't matter. As long as I have enough essence and blood, I will soon reach the level of God Realm. Lu Ming thought to himself. Strength, my strength is still too weak. The difference between me and those experts is too great. Lu Ming couldn't help but clench his fists. After this battle, Lu Ming clearly saw the gap between himself and the top experts of the Eastern Barren Territory. In front of Martial Emperor Di, he was like an ant. There was no way he could compare with him. There were also exalts and domain enlightened spirit gods. All of them were terrifying and shocking, and they were much stronger than him. His strength was too weak. Being weak meant that he was in a passive position. Strength, everything was because of strength. He had to increase his strength as soon as possible. Shao Qing, wait for me in the Central Continent. I will definitely go to the Central Continent and take you away. That day won't be too far away. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with determination. This time, he understood that he was being impulsive. But who hadn't been impulsive when they were young? Moreover, he was facing the person he loved. He had to watch her go to a place she didn't want to go and suffer. How could he be indifferent? The key was that he was not strong enough. If he was strong enough, he could break through all obstacles. Who could stop him? It was the second time in his life that Lu Ming desired strength so much. The first time was when Lu Yao took away his bloodline and wanted to take over the Lu clan. At that time, Lu Ming desired strength. With strength, he could defeat Lu Yao and regain control of the Lu clan and his own fate. He could stop Li Ping from being bullied. Now, he desired strength. With strength, he could take Xian Yanqing away, fight against Martial Emperor Di and protect his family and friends. After taking a few deep breaths, Lu Ming calmed himself down. Where did that fellow Dandan run off to? At this moment, Lu Ming thought of Dandan. Previously, during the battle in Jiolong City, Dandan had slipped away. No one knew where he went. That guy is very cunning. He should be fine. Lu Ming thought. Lu Ming, how are your injuries? Yan Kuangtu appeared beside Lu Ming and asked. I've recovered. Lu Ming stood up and said. Well, let's go to the Talisman Puppet Sect's Yin and Yang Mountain. I'm an old friend of the Talisman faction. I've already informed him. Yan Kuangtu said. Thank you, Brother Yan. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. Why are you being so polite with me? Speaking of which, we are brothers. It's just that Master didn't accept you as his disciple. Yan Kuangtu laughed. Immediately, Yan Kuangtu tore the space apart and rushed to the Yin and Yang mountain with Lu Ming. Half a day later, an incomparably huge mountain appeared in front of Lu Ming. Although they were separated by an unknown distance, Lu Ming could still feel the majesty and magnificence of the Yin and Yang mountain while standing high in the sky. The Yin and Yang mountain was the headquarters of the Talisman Puppet sect. It was formed by two incomparably huge mountains. The two mountains were like two Yin and Yang fishes intertwined with each other, forming the shape of Yin and Yang. Even though there was a great distance between them, Lu Ming could still feel a vast pressure spreading toward him. It pressed down on his heart and his sea of consciousness, causing his mental flame to flicker. The two mountains formed a natural formation with the help of the inscription formation. Is this the Yin and Yang mountain that is said to be unbreakable by martial emperors? It's really a creation of heaven and earth. Lu Ming exclaimed inwardly. He could feel that the Yin and Yang mountain was surrounded by terrifying killing formations. Once a strong enemy approached, it would surely unleash a deadly attack. This was the headquarters of the Talisman Puppet sect. After countless years, terrifying killing formations had been engraved here, which was what the Talisman Puppet sect relied on. Although the Talisman Puppet sect did not have a martial emperor now, it was still considered one of the four overlord factions. Even Martial Emperor Di could not do anything about it. Buzz. At that instant, the space ahead suddenly fluctuated. Following it, the space was torn apart and a figure stepped out from it. It was a middle-aged man with a long beard. He was wearing a Tai Chi robe and had an otherworldly aura. His eyes were filled with wisdom. As soon as he appeared, he swept his gaze across Yan Kuangtu and Lu Ming and said, "Yan Kuangtu, you guys have really caused a big commotion. The battle in Nine Dragon City has made you famous in the eastern wilderness. Now, I'm afraid some of the bigger forces have heard about it. Bai Shijin, are you making fun of me?" Yan Kuangtu took a sip of wine and said casually. He then introduced the man to Lu Ming. This man is Bai Shijin, the leader of the Talisman faction of the Talisman Puppet sect. He's an old acquaintance of mine. Lu Ming's heart shuddered. So this man is the leader of the Talisman faction. Currently, the Talisman Puppet sect was divided into two factions, the Talisman faction and the Puppet faction. The two factions were not willing to submit to each other and were constantly in conflict. You are Lu Ming, right? Your name is quite famous now. I heard that the battle at Nine Dragon City was caused by you. I'm quite curious. What is it that made Di personally take action? Chapter 858. Bai Shijin, let's talk about this later. Let's talk about business first. Yan Kuangtu said. Business? Yan Kuangtu, you two aren't really thinking of joining my Talisman Puppet sect, are you? Speaking of which, Sky Monster Valley and Heavenly Corpse sect are better choices. With the help of Heavenly Corpse sect or Sky Monster Valley, we can better fight against Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace and do right? Bai Shijin stroked his beard and said, Bai Shijin, you're wrong. I'm not here to join the Talisman Puppet sect, but to help Lu Ming take charge of the Talisman Puppet sect. Yan Kuangtu was very direct and went straight to the point. What did you say? Bai Shijin's body suddenly erupted with a powerful aura. His eyes turned cold as he stared at Yan Kuangtu and said, Yan Kuangtu, this joke is not funny at all. It's not funny, but it's not a joke. I'll tell you directly. Lu Ming is the successor of Senior Liaocong. Yan Kuangtu said. What did you say? This time, Bai Shijin almost screamed, completely unable to control his emotions. His eyes were wide open as he looked at Lu Ming in shock. The successor of Senior Master Liaocong? You've seen Senior Master Liaocong? He's been missing for 3,000 years. Where did you see him? Don't try to lie to me. A bunch of questions popped out of Bai Shijin's mouth. Senior Bai, whether it's true or not, you'll know when you see this. Lu Ming stepped forward and waved his hand. The 10,000 formation illustration appeared in his hand. The illustration opened and a powerful aura spread out. There were mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas engraved on it. It was incomparably mysterious. Bai Shijin's pupils shrank rapidly as he stared at the 10,000 formation illustration in Lu Ming's hand. He muttered to himself, 10,000 formation illustration, it's really the 10,000 formation illustration. What happened to Senior Master Liao Tsong? Why did he disappear for 3,000 years? I'm afraid Senior Master Liao Tsong doesn't have much time left. Lu Ming sighed. What's going on? What's going on? Bai Shijin stared at Lu Ming as if he wanted to see through Lu. Bai Shijin, I have the myriad formation illustration. Do you still not believe me? Yan Kuangtu said coldly. The 10,000 formation illustration is Patriarch Lianzong's divine weapon. At the same time, it is also the talisman puppet cult's heirloom. If it wasn't passed down personally by Patriarch Lianzong, none of you would have been able to obtain it. Even emperors wouldn't be able to obtain it. Since Lu Ming was able to obtain it, I naturally believe him. Where is Patriarch Lianzong now? I want to know. Bai Shijin said. It's like this. Immediately, Lu Ming briefly told him about his encounter with Lianzong. What? Was the Patriarch assassinated by De? Damn, despicable and shameless De. After listening to Lu Ming's explanation, Bai Shijin roared in anger. He really didn't expect Liao Tsong to be harmed by De back then. Then, De Tian Divine Palace slowly encroached on the Talisman Puppet Sect's territory, causing the Talisman Puppet Sect's strength to become weaker and weaker. Bai Shijin, now you know the whole story. Lu Ming is the successor of Patriarch Lianzong. He was entrusted by Patriarch Lianzong to take charge of the Talisman Puppet Cult. Are you going to go against Patriarch Lianzong's order? Yan Kuangtu stared at Bai Shijin and said in a deep voice. Bai Shijin's face darkened as if he was thinking about something. After a while, he said, I was greatly indebted to Patriarch Lianzong. Without Patriarch Lianzong, I wouldn't be where I am today. Patriarch Lianzong's grace is something that I would never dare to ask for. How could I go against Patriarch Lianzong's order? But Talisman Puppet Cult is not something that I can decide. There are still elders in the Talisman Puppet Cult. You mean they won't respect Lianzong's order? Yan Kuangtu said coldly. If Patriarch Lianzong's real body was here, they naturally wouldn't dare. But now, Lu Ming is just a junior. With a 10,000 formation illustration, I'm afraid it's very difficult. Bai Shijin said with a sigh. Senior Bai, how can we know if we don't try? Lu Ming said with a smile. Alright, follow me into the Talisman Puppet Cult first. I'll gather the elders of the two sects and make a decision together. Bai Shijin said after thinking for a while. Alright, let's do that. Yan Kuangtu nodded. Then Bai Shijin tore the space apart. The two of them followed Bai Shijin and stepped into the space. Following Bai Shijin would naturally not be attacked by the formation. Otherwise, even if they tore the space apart, they would still be attacked by the formation. In the next moment, the space trembled. Lu Ming, Yan Kuangtu, and Bai Shijin appeared in a courtyard. Yan Kuangtu, Lu Ming, you two stay here for the night. Tomorrow, I'll gather the upper echelons and elders of the two sects and make a decision together. Then you two can go together. Bai Shijin said. Lu Ming and Yan Kuangtu nodded. Then Bai Shijin left. Brother Yan, can we trust Bai Shijin if we just enter the Talisman Puppet Cult like this? Lu Ming asked Yan Kuangtu. If Bai Shijin had bad intentions, wouldn't it be very dangerous for them to enter this place? Lu Ming, you can rest assured. Bai Shijin is an old friend of Master. We've known each other for many years. He's a very righteous person. Moreover, he was taught by Senior Liao Tsong. Although he's a disciple's grandson, he's no different from a disciple. He's very loyal to Senior Liao Tsong. Yan Kuangtu said. That's good then. Lu Ming said. Thus, they decided to stay here. A day passed in the blink of an eye. On the second day, people from the Liao Tsong sect came and led them to the conference hall. In a huge hall, there were more than a dozen figures sitting. There were men and women in the group. Some of them looked middle-aged, and some of them were white-haired old men. At the top, on the left, sat Bai Shijin. On the right, sat a white-haired elder with a sage-like demeanor. This elder was the current leader of the Talisman sect, Du Songjue. The people in the hall were the most senior elders of the talisman puppet cult. Some of them were equivalent to supremes, while the weakest was equivalent to a peak 9th level spirit god. They were the people with the highest status in the talisman puppet cult. By Shijin, you've gathered all of us here, saying that you have something important to discuss. What's the matter? Can you tell us now? On the right, a middle-aged man with a burly appearance spoke. This person was a senior elder of the talisman sect. His name was Meng Chong, and he was extremely powerful, equivalent to a supremes. Currently, the talisman puppet cult only had a total of 5 supremes. One could imagine how powerful this person was in the talisman puppet cult. Not everyone is here yet. I'll tell you when they're all here. Bai Shijin said. Not everyone is here yet? The upper echelons of both our sects are here. Who else are we waiting for? Meng Chong said. They're waiting for us. A rough voice came from outside the hall. Then, 2 figures walked in from outside. Yen Kuangtu, it's you? As soon as Meng Chong saw Yen Kuangtu, he suddenly stood up. A silver light flickered between his eyebrows. However, there were traces of faint golden light mixed within the silver light. A powerful aura spread out. The faint golden light meant that the spirit fire was about to transform into a golden color. A golden spirit fire was equivalent to a 9th level inscription master, equivalent to an emperor realm expert. Chapter 859. Bang! A powerful aura burst out from Yen Kuangtu's body as he stared at Meng Chong and said, Meng Chong, what are you yelling for? Are you surprised to see me? Of course I'm surprised to see you. Who doesn't know about the battle at 9 Dragon City? Yen Kuangtu, so you've escaped from 9 Dragon City and came to the Duality Mountain to join our talisman puppet sect. Bai Shijin, you've gathered us here to discuss Yen Kuangtu joining us, right? I object. If Martial Emperor D knew that Yen Kuangtu had joined us, it would be a great loss if he waged a war against us. Meng Chong said in a loud voice. That's right. Although Yen Kuangtu's strength is strong, it's not worth offending Martial Emperor D. The other elders of the puppeteer sect spoke too. Lu Ming watched coldly. It was said that the puppeteer sect had the intention to join Martial Emperor D. It seemed like it was true. However, Bai Shijin and the elders of the talisman puppet sect remained silent. Meng Chong, I think you're overthinking it. I'm not here to join you. I'm here because of brother Lu Ming. Yen Kuangtu burst out laughing. Lu Ming? The others glanced at Lu Ming. Their eyes were filled with curiosity. They were curious why such a young man would cause a battle at 9 Dragon City, to the point that even Martial Emperor D was involved. He's Lu Ming. It's said that the battle at 9 Dragon City was because of him. You're asking us to protect him, right? No way. How is it possible to offend Martial Emperor D because of him? Yen Kuangtu, I advise you to leave at once. There's no room for discussion. Meng Chong said. Who says Lu Ming is here to join the talisman puppet sect? He's here to take charge of the talisman puppet sect. Yen Kuangtu said with a grin. Silence. The hall suddenly became quiet. The elders of the talisman puppet sect were stunned. They looked at Yen Kuangtu and Lu Ming in a daze. Haha, Yen Kuangtu, I think you're crazy. You've lost your mind after being beaten by Martial Emperor D in 9 Dragon City. You've come to the talisman puppet sect? A kid? Taking charge of the talisman? What a joke, what a joke. After quite a while, Meng Chong laughed out crazily. The others also looked at Yen Kuangtu as if they were looking at a madman. Yen Kuangtu curled his lips and did not seem to mind. He took out his wine gourd and drank a mouthful of wine. After which, he said in an indifferent tone, if Lu Ming is the successor of Senior Lien Song and is entrusted by Senior Lien Song to take charge of the talisman puppet sect, I wonder if that is possible? Silence. The hall suddenly became quiet again, so quiet that even the sound of a pin dropping could be heard. Nonsense. Ancestor Liansong has been missing for 3,000 years, how could he have obtained his legacy? It was still Meng Chong who spoke. Du Songjue's eyes flickered as he glanced at the expressionless Bai Shijin. I wonder if this can be proven? At this moment, Lu Ming took a step forward, and the myriad formation illustration appeared in his hand. All of a sudden, everyone in the hall focused their attention on the myriad formation illustration. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Then, a series of gasps could be heard. Myriad formation illustration. It's actually the myriad formation illustration. Oh my God, the myriad formation illustration has reappeared. The myriad formation illustration is the divine weapon of sect leader Liansong, and also his keepsake. Without sect leader Liansong's personal guidance, no one can control it. Could he really be the successor of sect leader Liansong? Exclamations could be heard in the hall. Each of the elders' glabella flickered with silver light, and their spiritual fire jumped. Their spiritual power was like a spiritual storm that filled the hall, forming a strong pressure. Myriad formation illustration. Kid, where did you get it? Quickly hand it over. Meng Chong suddenly stood up, and a terrifying pressure spread out from his glabella, pressing down on Lu Ming. His eyes flickered with greed. If he could obtain the myriad formation illustration, then the puppet sect would be able to command the entire talisman puppet sect. Du Songjue's eyes flickered, and the spiritual fire between his glabella jumped. Obviously, he was also very excited. Bang! Yen Kuangtu took a step forward, and a powerful aura rushed out, covering Lu Ming's body to resist the pressure. What? You want to go against Senior Liansong's order and snatch the myriad formation illustration? Yen Kuangtu's eyes were cold. The myriad formation illustration is a sacred object of the talisman puppet sect. How can it be controlled by a kid? Quickly hand over the myriad formation illustration and tell us about the situation with Senior Master Liansong, and we can let you leave safely. Meng Chong said coldly. What a joke, Meng Chong, believe it or not, I will cripple you. Yen Kuangtu roared, and golden flames of the golden crow spread out from his body. A violent aura rushed towards Meng Chong, causing the aura in the hall to suddenly rise. Meng Chong's face changed greatly, and his spiritual fire jumped. In front of him, dense inscriptions suddenly spread out, forming an inscription formation to resist Yen Kuangtu's pressure. At the same time, he shouted, Yen Kuangtu, although your battle strength is strong, this is the talisman puppet sect. If we fight, you will definitely die. It's enough to kill you, Yen Kuangtu said loudly, incomparably domineering. Meng Chong and the others of the puppet sect looked very serious. They thought of the Battle of 9 Dragons. In the Battle of 9 Dragons, Yen Kuangtu's battle strength was invincible, and he was able to fight against 3 Supremes. His battle strength had reached a terrifying level. If they really fought, even if they could defeat Yen Kuangtu, they would have to pay a heavy price. Meng Chong, Brother Kuangtu, we are all old acquaintances. Why do we have to be hostile? Sit down and talk slowly. At this time, Du Songjue, who had been silent all this time, said with a smile. Meng Chong snorted coldly and sat down again. Yen Kuangtu chuckled, and the aura on his body also converged. Lu Ming did not speak, and sighed slightly in his heart. He had long known that it would not be so easy to control the talisman puppet sect with just the myriad formation illustration. If Yen Kuangtu was not there, he believed that the people of the talisman puppet sect would definitely kill him and then seize the myriad formation illustration, without the slightest room for negotiation. This was strength. Only with strength would there be room for negotiation. Lu Ming has inherited the mantle of Grandmaster Liansong. This cannot be wrong. Otherwise, he would not be able to control the myriad formation illustration. At this time, Bai Shijin slowly spoke. This is indeed the case. The other elders of the talisman puppet sect nodded their heads. So what if that's the case? Letting a kid like him control the talisman puppet sect? Besides, he has offended Martial Emperor D. It will be a disaster if Martial Emperor D comes to us. Meng Chong harumphed coldly. Hee, Meng Chong, I know that the puppet sect wants to rely on Martial Emperor D, but is D worth it? My master, the 9 Sons Supreme, has contributed a lot to DE, but he still killed him easily. If you rely on him, you might end up in the same situation. Yen Kuangtu chuckled. Du Songjue, Meng Chong, and the others of the puppet sect were startled, but they did not say anything. Besides, I'll tell you one more thing. Don't you want to know why Senior Liansong suddenly disappeared? He was assassinated by D. Only a wisp of his soul was left and he escaped underground. Chapter 860. Other than Bai Shijin, who knew about this beforehand, the others were so shocked that they almost jumped up. What? Sect leader Liao Tsong was killed by Martial Emperor Di? How is that possible? How could such a thing happen? The founding elders were shocked, especially the founding elders of the puppet faction, who were even more shocked. It's true. Master said it himself. The million formation illustration is now half destroyed because Master was severely injured in the battle with Di. Lu Ming said loudly. After Lu Ming finished speaking, a figure stepped out from his forehead. It was Supreme Nine Sons. Supreme Nine Sons. The people of the Talisman Puppet sect looked at Supreme Nine Sons. Many of them were old acquaintances of Supreme Nine Sons. Everyone, what Lu Ming said is true. I met Senior Liao Tsong once underground. Supreme Nine Sons said. Supreme Nine Sons' words made everyone fall into silence. Master, you were actually killed by Martial Emperor Di. Du Songjue mumbled to himself. Du Songjue was Liao Tsong's direct disciple. So, do you still want to join Di? If the other disciples of the Talisman Puppet sect knew that the sect leader, the leader of the Talisman Puppet sect, was killed by Martial Emperor Di, and you want to join him instead, what would they think? Yen Kuangtu sneered. Meng Chong and the other founding elders of the puppet faction had ugly expressions. Di had killed Liao Tsong and then invaded the territory of the Talisman Puppet sect. He was their mortal enemy. How could they join Di? If the other disciples knew about this, many of them would rebel. Since Di had killed Liao Tsong, why would he take them in? Why would he not guard against them? This path was obviously impossible. What the Talisman Puppet sect can do now is to unite and accumulate strength to fight against Di Tian Divine Palace and Martial Emperor Di. Otherwise, we will be defeated. Yen Kuangtu said loudly. Ridiculous. How can we fight against Martial Emperor Di? Who can fight against Di without becoming an emperor? Meng Chong sneered. The others nodded. If someone can break through to the Martial Emperor realm, they can fight against Di and even kill him. Yen Kuangtu said. Breaking through to the Martial Royal realm? It's not that easy. How many peerless geniuses have been born in the Eastern continent for the past 10,000 years? How many of them were able to break through to the Martial Royal realm? On average, there would only be one every few thousand years. Yen Kuangtu, you are known as the genius of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace that only appears once every 1,000 years. Can you do it? Are you confident? Meng Chong looked at Yen Kuangtu mockingly. I might not be able to, but Lu Ming definitely can. Yen Kuangtu said. What right does a little brat have? Ridiculous. Meng Chong sneered. I think so too. Senior Liao Tsong thinks so too. Supreme Nine Sons said, silencing Meng Chong. The Talisman Puppet sect members involuntarily gathered their gazes onto Lu Ming once again. They couldn't help but think of the rumors about Lu Ming. Even Emperor Yi was willing to help him. Yen Kuangtu and the Nine Sons Supreme, these two peerless Nine Sons Supremes trusted him so much. Besides, why was Liao Tsong willing to pass down his mantle to him? What was so special about him? Why was he worthy of the attention of so many authorities? Important. Everyone, since Lu Ming has obtained the inheritance of our ancestor, we can't disobey his orders. At that instant, Bai Shijin spoke once again. This is a serious matter that concerns the future of the Talisman Puppet sect. We have to consider it carefully, unless Lu Ming can prove that he is worthy of us taking such a huge risk. Du Songjue said. That's right. Besides, I've heard that this brat is very talented in martial arts. However, if he wants to control the Talisman Puppet sect, he can't rely on his martial arts. Brat, show us your spiritual rings. Meng Chong said coldly. Lu Ming wore a smile on his face. It was obvious that the people of the puppet sect were starting to relax. This was a good start. Seniors, if you want to take a look, let's have a look. Lu Ming stepped forward and brought his fists together. Meanwhile, his glabella glowed as spiritual rings appeared above his head. There were a total of 6 of them: crimson, orange, yellow, green, blue, and blue. 6 different colors, 6 spiritual rings. The hall fell into silence once again. Everyone widened their eyes and mouths as they stared at Lu Ming in a daze. They stared at the mental energy ring above his head with an incredulous expression. Perfect, all perfect. The first 5 ranks are perfect. How is this possible? How is this possible? Meng Chang's mouth was wide open as if he had just swallowed a dead mouse. Genius, a peerless genius. Such talent is comparable to Patriarch Liao Tsang's. Yeah, Patriarch Liao Tsang achieved perfect mastery in the first 5 ranks and lit up 9 spiritual rings for the 6th rank. Lu Ming has a chance to reach Patriarch Liao Tsang's level. The elders of the Talisman Puppet sect discussed in astonishment. Bai Shijin was also dumbfounded and shocked. The reason why he stood on Lu Ming's side previously was mainly because of Liao Tsang's legacy. No matter who Liao Tsang's legacy was passed down to, he would support it. However, he did not expect Lu Ming's inscription talent to be so terrifying. The first 5 ranks were perfect mastery. Apart from Liao Tsang, no one in the Talisman Puppet sect had achieved that in the past 10,000 years. On the side, Yan Kuangtu was also dumbfounded. He did not know that Lu Ming's talent in the Tao of Inscription was so terrifying. He could not help but smile wryly. To be able to achieve such a feat while cultivating both martial and inscription. This kid is incredible. No wonder Patriarch Liao Tsang is interested in him. Perhaps he can revitalize our Talisman Puppet sect in the future? It's hard to say. The elders of the Talisman Puppet sect discussed. Bai Shijin, this is a serious matter. Let's discuss it. Du Songjue glanced at Bai Shijin. Bai Shijin nodded and said, I called you here to discuss it. He then looked at Lu Ming, Yan Kuangtu and the others and said, why don't you wait outside the hall? We need to discuss it. Sure, please go ahead. Lu Ming brought his fists together and walked out of the hall with Yan Kuangtu. It's almost done, but it's impossible for Lu Ming to take charge of the Talisman Puppet sect. I think the Talisman Puppet sect will give Lu Ming some tests. Supreme Nine Sun said. There's no problem with a test. Lu Ming smiled confidently. Following this, they waited in silence. This wait lasted for 3 hours. Only then did someone inform them to re-enter the main hall. Lu Ming, you're still young and your cultivation is still low. I'm afraid most people won't be convinced if you take charge of the Talisman Puppet sect, which will only bring more trouble. Let's discuss with the elders and make you one of the Zongzi candidates. What do you think? Bai Shijin was the first to speak. Chapter 861. Thank you so much, seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and thanked them. It was already very rare to become a Zongzi candidate. After all, Lu Ming had just arrived and he had to rely on the deterrence of Yan Kuangtu and Supreme Nine Yang to achieve this. If he had come alone, these big shots would not have compromised and he would not have had a chance to show off. First, he would become a Zongzi candidate. Then, he would have to fight for it himself. Yes. Du Songjue and the others nodded. They were satisfied with Lu Ming's humble attitude. First, you can become a Zongzi candidate. But if you want to become an official Zongzi and take charge of the Talisman Puppet sect in the future, there is another condition. Du Songjue said slowly. Here it comes. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He knew that there must be a condition. It could not be that simple. Senior, please tell me. Lu Ming said. The condition is that you must stand out in the upcoming Battle of Providence and win first place. Then, after the Battle of Providence, you can immediately become an official Zongzi. Du Songjue said. Then, the sect leaders and elders of the Talisman Puppet sect, Talisman faction, and Puppet faction all stared at Lu Ming. Before Lu Ming could speak, Yan Kuangtu shouted, What? Win first place in the Battle of Providence? How is that possible? Lu Ming has only cultivated for a short time. You are deliberately making things difficult for him. This condition is too difficult. Change it. Win first place in the Battle of Providence? Even though Yan Kuangtu was mentally prepared, he was still shocked. He did not doubt Lu Ming's talent, but Lu Ming's cultivation time was shorter than the other geniuses. The top 100 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents were each more abnormal than the other. The top 10 geniuses were even more terrifying. Moreover, there were many new geniuses who were also very bright. No one knew how strong they were. This was only for the human clan. The heavenly demon tribe also had many descendants with powerful bloodlines. It was too difficult to win first place. They were deliberately making things difficult for him. Yan Kuangtu, this condition is indeed difficult. But to break through to the martial emperor realm and fight against D is even more difficult. In the eastern wasteland, there is only one martial emperor every few thousand years. How many geniuses will there be in the eastern wasteland? It's hard to count. Even in this golden age where geniuses come forth in large numbers, those who can break through to the martial emperor realm in the future are few and far between. Lu Ming must suppress this era. Only then will he have the opportunity to break through to the martial emperor realm. Only then will he have the opportunity to fight and even defeat D. Meng Chang's eyes shone brightly as he shouted. Yan Kuangtu remained silent. He knew that what Meng Chong said made sense. Good. I agree. A clear voice suddenly rang out. Many people's eyes lit up as they looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming stood quietly in the hall. His body was ramrod straight, and his eyes were filled with determination and confidence. First place in the Battle of Providence? He had to do it, he had to do it. Just like what Meng Chong said, if he couldn't do it, how could he fight against D? Anyone who could reach the martial emperor realm was a legend. And he had to create his own legend. Although he knew that it would be difficult, there was only motivation when there was pressure. Good, then it's a deal. If you can obtain first place in the Battle of Providence, you will bring great luck to the Talisman Puppet Sect. At that time, I will not go back on my words and will assist you to become the Talisman Puppet Sect Master. Anyone who wants to stop you will have to go through me first. Du Songjue stood up. His voice was sonorous and powerful. In the past, the marionette sect wanted to rely on Martial Emperor Di because they were afraid that the Talisman Puppet Sect would be destroyed. They just wanted to leave behind some legacy, not because they were afraid of death. This is also what I want to say. Furthermore, Lu Ming, if you really obtain first place, I believe that no one in the Talisman Puppet Sect will object. Bai Shijin also spoke. The other founding elders also nodded their heads. Seniors, don't worry. Lu Ming will do it. Lu Ming said in a firm voice. All right, it's settled then. One more thing, it's better if you don't use your real name now. If D knows that you're here at the Talisman Puppet Sect, it will be troublesome. You can use a fake name for now. Bai Shijin suggested. I'll use the name Tianyun from today onward. Lu Ming said after a slight hesitation. Tianyun. He had used the name Tianyun in the Blazing Sun Empire, but not many people knew about it. Alright, that's all for today. I'll send out a notice in a few days to inform the whole sect that you've become a Zongzi candidate. Farewell. Du Songjue rose from his seat and left. Meng Chong and the others also rose from their seats and left. In the end, the founding elders of the Talisman faction left too. Only Bai Shijin, Yan Kuangtu, and Lu Ming were left in the hall. Lu Ming, it's up to you now. I'll give you the token of a Zongzi candidate in a few days. At that time, you'll be able to enter the sacred cultivation grounds of the Talisman Puppet Sect as you wish. Also, I've already informed my disciple to arrange a new place for you to stay later. Bai Shijin said with a smile. Thank you, Senior Bai. Lu Ming thanked him sincerely. This time, Bai Shijin had helped him a lot by standing on his side. At this moment, a round bead flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows. It was Supreme Nine Sun's soul-gathering bead. It flew to Yan Kuangtu, who grabbed it. Lu Ming, you'll cultivate in the Talisman Puppet Sect from now on. I'll bring my master to find some treasures to help him condense his soul force. Yan Kuangtu said. Lu Ming nodded and said, I hope Senior Nine Sons can recover soon. As the three were talking, a young woman walked in. The woman was in her early 20s. She had an impressive figure and wore a red dress. She was very beautiful. "Master, what can I do for you?" The young woman glanced at Lu Ming and Yan Kuang curiously, then bowed to Bai Shijin. "Qi Shui, you're here. Let me introduce you. This is Tianyun. He's new to the Talisman Puppet Sect and will cultivate in the Talisman Puppet Sect from now on. During this period, take care of him. Also, Tianyun will move into the Cloud Peak residence." Bai Shijin said to the young woman. "What? You want him to move into the Cloud Peak residence?" "No, master, I don't agree. I used to live there alone." The young woman immediately shouted with dissatisfaction. "Why not? The Cloud Peak residence has the inscription eye, so it's easy to sense the inscription law. How can I let you monopolize such a good place? Tianyun must move there. If you don't agree, you can move out," Bai Shijin said with a sullen face. The young woman's face turned pale and she stopped talking. Her eyes were misty as she looked at Bai Shijin. Her master usually doted on her the most, but today she was scolded because of an outsider, causing her to feel extremely wronged. "Tianyun, this is my youngest disciple, Bai Qi Shui. She's been spoiled by me. Please get along with her in the future," Bai Shijin said with a smile. "Greetings, Miss Bai." Lu Ming brought his fists together at Bai Qi Shui. "Humph." Chapter 862. "Qi Shui, what kind of attitude is this? Well now, take Tianyun to Cloud Peak residence and have a look around," Bai Shijin ordered. Bai Qi Shui stomped his feet. Without looking at Lu Ming, he pouted and turned to leave. Lu Ming touched his nose with a wry smile. He really wanted to suggest that Lu Ming arrange another residence for him. It would be more peaceful if he was alone. But thinking that Cloud Peak residence was probably very special and was specially arranged by Bai Shijin, Lu Ming did not say anything. He said goodbye to Yan Kuang and Bai Shijin and followed Bai Qi Shui. After Lu Ming and Bai Qi Shui left, Yan Kuang looked at Bai Shijin with a faint smile and said, "Bai Shijin, you are really an old fox. What are you planning to do by arranging such a beautiful disciple to live with Lu Ming?" "Hem." Bai Shijin coughed a few times and said with a red face, "Brother Yan, you think too much. Lu Ming is a genius. I just want my disciple to learn more from Lu Ming. As for the sparks between the young people, it's all up to fate." "Ha!" Bai Shijin laughed awkwardly. The conference hall was in the center of the Tai Chi Yin-Yang fish. Lu Ming followed Bai Qi Shui out of the conference hall and walked in the direction of the Yin-Yang fish. Along the way, Bai Qi Shui pouted and did not say a word. She did not even look at Lu Ming and flew forward. Lu Ming smiled wryly and could only follow her. The Yin and Yang mountain was very magnificent and covered a large area. There were countless mountains, lakes, and grotto heavens on top of it. The two flew for more than 100,000 miles, passing countless mountains and rivers along the way, and finally flew to a peak surrounded by clouds and mist. On top of the mountain peak, there was a courtyard that was built very exquisitely. This was Cloud Peak residence. What a wonderful place! As soon as he landed on this mountain peak, Lu Ming's eyes brightened. Within his spiritual sea, he could feel the spiritual fire jumping about. It was as if it could easily sense the existence of the law of inscription. From the law of inscription, it could absorb the power of inscription and enhance his spiritual fire. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. The world was truly wondrous. There were all sorts of wondrous places. Some places had spiritual eyes, and the spiritual qi was extremely rich. In some places, there were Tao eyes that allowed one to comprehend the will of heaven and earth more clearly. But here, there was the eye of inscription, and it was easier to sense the inscription laws and absorb the power of inscription. No wonder Bai Shijin arranged for him to come here. He also hoped that he could improve faster before the War of Providence. Bai Qi Snow opened the door and walked in. Lu Ming also followed in. As soon as he entered, Lu Ming saw that there were some platforms in the courtyard. On the platforms, there were all kinds of materials. Lu Ming glanced at them and knew that they were materials for refining various runes and inscription symbol scrolls. It seemed like Bai Chi Snow often refined runes here. That room is yours. Bai Chi Snow pointed to a room on the left and spoke for the first time. Her voice was crisp and very pleasant to the ear. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. Also, let me tell you, the things in this courtyard are all materials for me to refine inscription symbol scrolls. You don't understand, so don't touch them. Do you understand? Bai Chi Snow looked at Lu Ming. In the Talisman Puppet sect, she had never seen Lu Ming. Among the geniuses of the Talisman Puppet sect, there was no such person as Lu Ming. She didn't know where her master found this person. She actually regarded him so highly and even allowed him to stay in the Cloud Peak residence. But in her heart, since he wasn't a genius of the Talisman Puppet sect, then his inscription Dao definitely wouldn't be good. She was really afraid that Lu Ming would destroy her materials and disturb her cultivation. Okay, I won't touch them. Lu Ming nodded. He couldn't be bothered to lower himself to the level of a little girl. Immediately after, Lu Ming looked around and walked into the room on the left and closed the door. I'm cultivating here alone and I'm so free. Master even arranged for someone to come in, and it's a man. I have to think of a way to make him unable to stay here and voluntarily leave. Bai Chi Snow looked at Lu Ming's door and her eyes spun. I got it. It's his first time here, so he definitely doesn't know anything. After that, I'll just ignore him. What did he ask me? I'll say I don't know and ignore him. Let's see how long he can stay here. Thinking of this, Bai Chi Snow's face revealed a smile and her mood became better. She began to study the inscription symbol scrolls in the courtyard. This place is really strange. My spirit fire is about to break through, let's try it out. Immediately, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and activated the underworld god observation. Immediately, his mind seemed to pass through layers of voids and enter the inscription law. The surrounding inscription power was endless and very clear. It was as if Lu Ming could quickly absorb it with a thought. Immediately, he began to cultivate. Wisps of inscription power passed through layers of voids and fell into Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. They were absorbed by the spirit fire. Lu Ming's spirit fire slowly became more vigorous. In his sea of consciousness, 4 blue spirit lamps were burning fiercely and had reached the limit. He was only one step away from igniting 5. It's really strange. Compared to other places, the absorption of inscription power is dozens of times faster. Coupled with my underworld god observation, it's even more amazing. Lu Ming was shocked and worked even harder to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, a day and a night had passed. In his sea of consciousness, the flames of the 4 blue spirit lamps had reached the limit. Suddenly, a blue flame appeared in the 5th spirit lamp and jumped in the air. The 5th spirit lamp was lit. After a while, Lu Ming opened his eyes. 5 blue spirit lamps. Now, my spirit power is incomparably majestic. I wonder what level it has reached. Lu Ming pondered for a moment. Then, he waved his fingers and started to inscribe in the air. Inscriptions appeared and shone as if they were about to be inscribed in the air. In an instant, a formation was formed and embedded in the void, shining with a faint light. Unfortunately, after 10 breaths of time, the spirit formation collapsed. There's still a gap. My spirit power is still not enough to inscribe formations in the void. Perhaps, after igniting 1 or 2 more spirit lamps, I can inscribe formations in the void. Lu Ming thought to himself. If others knew about this, their jaws would drop. It was very difficult to inscribe formations in the void. One had to reach the 7th level of true inscription master, which was equivalent to the spirit embryo realm. Moreover, a true inscription master who had just broken through to the 7th level couldn't do it. Inscribing formations in the void couldn't stay for long. Only an expert among the 7th level inscription masters could do it. As for Lu Ming, he was only a 6th level inscription master. The formations he inscribed could already stay in the void for a short period of time. He believed that if his spirit power was stronger, he would really be able to inscribe formations in the void. This was extremely shocking. A 6th level inscription master could inscribe formations in the void. Since ancient times, not many people could do it. Once Lu Ming reached that level, his battle strength would increase rapidly and the restrictions of the path of inscription would be even fewer. With my current battle strength, I'm still far from being number one in the battle of providence. It's not realistic for me to rush up in a short period of time. The martial Tao and the path of inscription have to advance together and cooperate with each other to unleash a great power. Only then will I have a greater chance. The most important thing now is to raise the 9 Dragons bloodline to the level of a god bloodline. The Talisman Puppet sect focuses on the path of inscription. I believe they have a lot of demonic beast blood essence. I'd better go buy some demonic beast blood essence first. Chapter 863. As soon as he walked out of the door, he saw Bai Qi Shui in the courtyard, concentrating on refining an inscription scroll. A piece of white paper made of a special material was spread out on the platform. Bai Qi Shui frowned, and a blue mental flame flickered on her fingertips. Some powdery materials were sucked into the air, and under Bai Qi Shui's fingers, they turned into lines of inscriptions and sank into the white paper. On the white paper, lines of inscriptions would appear, intertwining with each other, beautiful and gorgeous. 6th grade 7th layer Heavenly Fire Sword. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that Bai Qi Shui was refining a level 6 7th level Heavenly Fire Divine Sword Inscription Talisman Scroll. Once this Inscription Talisman Scroll was activated, it could release a Heavenly Fire Divine Sword. Its power was equivalent to the attack power of a level 7 spiritual sea realm. Lu Ming was not in a hurry to leave. His figure silently appeared behind Bai Qi Shui, and he watched with interest. Bai Qi Shui's technique was very exquisite. The speed of inscription and her control of the mental flame were also very exquisite. Her use of the mental flame has already reached the late stage of minute subtlety. As expected of Bai Shijin's disciple, amazing! Lu Ming praised in his heart. An inscription master's battle prowess was not only related to the strength of the mental flame, but also to the use of the mental flame. If one's use of the mental flame reached an extremely profound level, they could defeat the strong as the weak, just like in martial arts, surpassing levels to fight. The use of the mental flame was divided into 5 levels. Adept, minute subtlety, heart intent, and Shenhe. Each level was divided into early, middle, late, and peak. Generally speaking, a 6th grade inscription master who could reach minute subtlety was already considered a genius. The 3rd level, heart intent, usually required a 7th grade inscription master to master. Intent manipulation required a level 8 inscription master to grasp it. As for Shenhe, it required a level 9 emperor to grasp it. Bai Qi Shui was young, and to be able to master the mental flame to the late stage of minute subtlety was already very rare. She could be considered a peerless genius. Bai Qi Shui's fingers moved in the air like flowing water. Lines of inscriptions flew into the white paper. The Heavenly Fire Sword inscription scroll was about to be refined. Suddenly, a burst of green smoke came out of the scroll, and the entire scroll burst into flames, burning fiercely, and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. Failed again, what's going on? Could it be that I can't inscribe a 6th grade 7th grade inscription scroll with my cultivation? Bai Qi Shui gritted her teeth and frowned. At this moment, she noticed something strange behind her. She turned around and saw Lu Ming sizing her up. "What are you doing?" Bai Qi Shui was startled and almost jumped up like a frightened rabbit. "I didn't do anything. I just happened to see you refining talismans, so I took a few more glances." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Look at me refining talismans. Can you understand it? You scared me. Don't hide behind me sneakily in the future, or I'll report you to Master." Bai Qi Shui patted her towering chest and glared at Lu Ming. "Okay, I won't peek in the future. By the way, where can I buy materials, treasures, spiritual herbs and so on?" Lu Ming asked. "You want to buy things?" "I don't know." Bai Qi Shui rolled her eyes. "You don't know?" Lu Ming was stunned and said, "Then where did you get these materials?" "It's none of your business." Bai Qi Shui pouted. Lu Ming was a little amused. Bai Qi Shui was really a little girl. Was she deliberately making things difficult for him? I remember Senior Bai Shijin asked you to take care of me. You didn't even tell me this, so I can only send a message to Senior Bai. Lu Ming sighed. Wait a minute. Bai Qi Shui was shocked. If Lu Ming sent a message to Bai Shijin, she would probably be scolded again. These things can be bought in the treasure pavilion. Don't ask me where to go. I don't have time to take you there. Here is a map. Take it and see. Bai Qi Shui had no choice but to take out a map and give it to Lu Ming. At the same time, she cursed Lu Ming for not being a man and using her master to pressure her. Lu Ming opened the map and looked at it. Then he put it away and said with a smile, "Thank you, Miss Bai." With that he walked toward the main entrance. When he reached the main entrance, Lu Ming seemed to have thought of something. He stopped in his tracks and said, "Miss Bai, when refining the Heavenly Fire Divine Sword Talisman, why don't you lighten the heat inscription on the 136th rune by 20% and increase the sharpness inscription on the 565th rune by 20%? Also, delay the use of the flint powder for 5 breaths." After that, Lu Ming strode out of the door and went towards the treasure pavilion. Bai Qi Shui was stunned for a moment. Then she coldly snorted and muttered, "You don't know how to pretend to know." Nonsense. Refining the Heavenly Fire Divine Sword Charm Scroll, how can it be so easy? I just need to modify a few places. I'm just not skilled enough. If I continue to practice, I will definitely succeed. After muttering, Bai Qi Shui continued to seriously inscribe the Heavenly Fire Divine Sword Charm Scroll. But then she continued to inscribe 2 times in a row, both of which ended in failure. The talisman paper burned and turned into ashes. What's going on? Could it be that I really can't inscribe a 6th level 7th level inscription charm scroll? If I can't even inscribe a 6th level 7th level inscription charm scroll, I have no hope of getting an opportunity in the Battle of Destiny half a year later. Bai Qi Shui frowned and was secretly angry. Why don't we try that guy's method? Lu Ming's words suddenly flashed in Bai Qi Shui's mind. Then she shook her head and thought, that guy is probably talking nonsense. Why should I believe him? Although she thought so, Lu Ming's words still lingered in her mind. Damn guy, he deliberately disturbed my state of mind. I'll try it once. If it doesn't work, I'll report to Master and drive him out of Cloud Peak residence. Hey, yes, I'm so smart. At the thought of using this method to drive Lu Ming out of Cloud Peak residence, Bai Qi Shui laughed happily again. She immediately took out a piece of talisman paper and began to inscribe the Heavenly Fire Sword Talisman Scroll. This time, she did the key points according to Lu Ming's method. Her fingers trembled slightly and inscriptions flew into the talisman paper. They intertwined on the talisman paper and formed a mysterious and beautiful pattern. Buzz. A moment later, when Bai Qi Shui finished inscribing the last inscription, the talisman paper shone brightly and there was a faint sound of a sword. A mysterious array was shining on the talisman paper. Did it succeed? Bai Qi Shui's eyes almost popped out. Her small mouth was wide open as she stared at the Heavenly Fire Sword Talisman Scroll in front of her. She actually succeeded. She never thought that according to Lu Ming's method, she would actually succeed and successfully refine the Heavenly Fire Sword Talisman Scroll. How was this possible? Could it be that this guy is a hidden expert? A thought flashed in Bai Qi Shui's mind. Then she quickly shook her head and muttered, "Impossible, I've seen all the geniuses of the Talisman Puppet Sect. There's no such person. Outside of the Talisman Puppet Sect, which youth's inscription technique can be compared to the geniuses of the Talisman Puppet Sect. That guy must be lucky." He guessed right. Yes, he's lucky. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.